The Saltmarsh side story, where Simon sailors are stuck on an island. Last time the party broke up a fascinating little ritual. Didn't quite get there just in time, but it was a mostly positive success. Before that, they also spent a little bit more time in a dwarven building, where they bonded with the king and his wife. Lovely time that was.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. But then it was a heavy duty brawl. And now they stand successful. Mostly. Like 3/4. That's a pass. The Kuato around them are dead. The creature that was once one of their sailors also expired. The scene is on you guys now in the aftermath.
We should probably check on the survivors.
Yes, we should.
Corvus, did you delete the map for that?
Yep.
Because I'm trying to remember what it looked like.
Well, luckily, I can use the power of Discord.
Had a bunch of tents with those like tree holes.
Tree holes.
Well, you said they were trees, but they were holes because they were trees. But...
Yeah. There we go,
Wait,
because
are
the
you
map still
talking
exists
about-
here.
I'm still on that.
Yeah, because you loaded in before I deleted it.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm just trying to save a bit of space. Because while I'm on a new computer with many terabytes, Roll20 still has its 100 megabyte limit.
The sailors that did survive are still tied up, right?
Yep.
I'll go start uncutting them.
I will assist in freeing the sailors we have saved.
Do they look hungry? Do they look like they've been beaten or anything, or they're just tied up?
They look, well, scale of 1 to 10, sort of. They're on a low 2. They've not been beaten, scarred, or anything like that there, but they've definitely not been sustained. And heat has a hell of a way of damaging people when they're not getting proper hydration. Except for the kobold, he looks perfectly fucking fine. I mean, how can you tell when something's malnourished when it's already that scrawny?
Do we have any food for them right now, or is it all back at camp?
You've kind of just been grabbing shit along the way, yeah.
Are they clothed?
No, of course not.
I will go over to the tent, and I guess if I can remove any pieces of clothing or anything that can be used as just a blanket.
It's going to be an actual undertaking. That will take teamwork to basically deconstruct the tent to find what's salvageable.
So it's the one big one, and there were some smaller ones made of the same kind of stuff?
Yep. More person involved in those ones.
Alright. Let's start with the big one here.
Yeah, I'll help you out with that.
It has to be said,
I'll
some
do-
fascinating tattoos there.
Shelley's just going to focus on undoing the bounds, the bindings of the lovely folk, and then checking to see if they're okay.
Likewise.
Do you even remember their names?
I never knew them. But let me see if I have it written down, because I might actually have it written down.
Is there anything salvageable for them to just wear, like, on maybe just over their shoulders?
I mean, they could drag a Kuato over until it crispifies.
No, I'm
There's
not on
the-
our map.
Oh, there's Sulzat and Penance. And I
Yep.
don't know about the other one.
Yeah, you don't know of a kobold. He was not part of the
Yeah, I
crew.
don't know the kobold. I have the whole name, but I am not trying to figure out how to say the last names on either of those.
It's simple enough. Micklethwaite and Rigado.
Exactly.
But yes, it's easy enough to get them covered along with yourselves once the tent is broken down. It's not like there's some bits and pieces, like 2/3 of most of your outfits is there. In some cases less, some cases more, but there's also just a lot of other people's. There's a number of shirts that have just need a bit of restitching and they'll be fine, so long as you can pick the flesh off them. Some comfortable trousers. A few bags, but will need a hefty restitching before they can make useful. Some satchels. Any investigation or such to search for anything notable within the tent?
If we're doing,
Oh, I would be doing that.
No, I think Cordell
Too
spoke
busy
up
helping
first.
People.
well, I mean, mine's stupid because if we're doing a re-outfitting, I didn't really have anything to begin with, so I don't
Pretty
know.
sure you had trousers.
Yeah, but I like this skirt that I'm wearing, so I'm just gonna.
It goes with the high
all be
heels.
mud. I just want to. Re-outfitting is just me mud, and then I'm good.
Was Jinyao not doing that as well?
Yeah.
Alright, I will assist Jinyao.
So with advantage.
Yep.
This is for the big tent.
Nice.
Among it, you find 2 casting focus.
Oh,
One is a snaking bit of wood. It seems like a branch at first, but then you notice it's been properly carved and surfaced and varnished. But it does slip easily onto the arm. Along with a dangling pendulum jewel. Nice deep red. Swings by itself very easily whenever it's held up. And 1 component pouch that contains enough ingredients for first level spells.
ho 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 ho.
Nice.
Yes.
I'll go ahead and take one of the focus.
I mean, you might have to take them all.
I mean, there's not really a point in having multiple, right?
Style points.
Well, focus are also important for people like rangers who cast spells that sometimes have material components.
Yes.
Right.
So was that for the whole camp, or was that just like tents?
That's really the only thing of value, apart from
Okay.
the glowing rock up on the platform, which is held by the see-through Koatoa, which is just burst.
Was the glowing rock the same size as the ship boob thing?
No, it's like the one you saw whenever you first got on the island. It's just one of those things they seem to carry. A chunk of sickly green glowing rock.
Are there any engravings or anything up on that platform?
There were. You can tell that there is some faint letterings on it, but it looks like it matches up to Dwarven.
Right. So they repurposed this, or maybe the dwarves were doing this. Fuck knows.
Is it
Whooperting.
legible or faded?
Pretty faded. But, you know, peg out a bit, it might work. So you call in Whipperting to check it over?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's have a go then. Well, it is made of stone, so he gets 2d20 on this. Oh, actually a good roll. After he's, pushed away a few of the crispy corpses and looked over the detritus and whatnot, cleared a bit. Looks like this was just a nice celebratory promenade. This was during a decent, probably a moon phase or whatnot. This is just where they go for a nice drink to celebrate their ancestors.
We found a dwarven bonfire.
Yeah, kind of. A place to hang out, make merry, and enjoy the lineage.
That has now been turned into sacrifices.
Yes.
It's kind of the same thing.
No, it's not.
Sounds very culturally ignorant there. Are they not sacrificing the booze? Is that not exactly the same as murdering someone and mutating them into some sort of monster?
No.
I mean, in my book.
Because alcohol can make monsters of people.
Yes, it can.
There's surprising lack of enthusiasm on the fact you've now got clothing.
Well, we had
Well,
we scrounged some
Shelly
stuff
doesn't
together.
care.
There's a difference between
It's come
running...
to the point where we've been naked so long it doesn't really matter.
Pretty much.
Ginny just real... Well, you don't count, P.O. Your character's been running around in a dress.
Yes.
It's where Ginny, in true cat fashion, looks at the lovely new trousers and just throws them away to keep walking around in his burlap sack skirt and leather harness.
I'm gonna collect whatever's found in that group and basically bunch it up and start walking back over to the people that have just been cut free.
Yeah, there's a lot of horse and sort of strained thank yous and whatnot. Like, it's tough when you're that debilitated by heat. But they do dress very quickly. The kobold putting on what looks like some sort of halfling's outfit, so he is swimming in it.
We'll see if we can't get our friend back at the boats to make him like a ropey belt or something.
Hello, friends.
Something to just tie it closer to the frame.
You heroes? Here to save?
We're here to save you, yes.
Good, then definitely friends. I am Ripperchip Scribblerich.
One more again?
Ripperchip Scribblerich.
Chip script. Hell yeah.
Entrepreneur and expert miner.
Ah,
Novice sailor.
What? I was about to say, what brings you out here? But
Here? No, big thing. Glowing head.
Yeah, yep. I saw that too.
Not where I was going, but where I am.
Where were you going?
Oh, the Dales. Find black ice.
so effectively, we all came from all over the place.
Did we?
Nobody here. Yeah, I wasn't there.
Oh.
Where were you guys? And I point to the rest of the crew.
We're going to Chult.
Yes. Trading mission to Chult.
Completely legal trading mission to Chult, yes.
I trust the captain.
No, you fucking didn't. No one trusted him for a
Well.
moment. I have never seen so many insight rolls.
inside. I trusted the captain. Used as
You
a
know-
centric.
The first thing that happened when we started suggesting crewmen's was we can't have him get the girl tiefling. She can't be put on board. We have to make sure she's protected away from him. That, to me, shows a lack of trust.
Maybe we judged him a bit quickly. But he also got us stuck here.
No, he didn't.
Oh, yeah.
No, he didn't.
He drove us right into that thing.
He gave you guys the choice, and if you attacked the goblin ship, he just simply charged you into it and did an amazing handbrake turn.
I wonder wonder if we hadn't done that, if we actually would have gotten to Jolt.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Nah.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna come here anyway.
Maybe.
Maybe. You never
Maybe
know.
on the way back.
You would have had all your
No,
children
no.
riches and magical items.
On the way back, we faced the Gorillion captain, the pirate crew, the Yellow Bananas.
You meet up with the rest of a pirate fleet. You thought there was only one that crashed in Saltmarsh.
How far is our camp from here again? It's like a couple days, isn't it?
Yeah, multiple
Yeah.
days.
I mean, we have a
We
rest
should
stop
go
with the Dwarven
back to the
building.
Dwarven, yeah.
Yeah. It's still a ways away, though.
And yeah, you'll be able to, because you've got a couple of rangers, you'll be able to feed yourselves decently enough.
As long as there's water with sustainable things in it, I can provide.
There's water, yeah. It's just, it's not room temperature or below.
It's
So-
fine.
But is it
have
drinkable?
life?
That's really all that matters.
Yes. I mean,
Warm water.
it comes pre-boiled.
God, I hate that.
I do kind of wish we had like microscopes. So we could actually look at the bacteria that lives on this island. It'd be fascinating.
Why would you want that?
Because I'm playing a barbarian.
See, the problem is, the bacteria would also be fire-aligned and influenced by it. So when you get a fever, you are literally burning up.
When it
No,
comes
as
to
our-
things
as
like
our-
that,
As our body temperature is a lot lower than likely things in this island, if it entered our body, it would likely just immediately die.
There's a good chance of that. But
my
some things are quite adaptive.
Yes.
when it comes to things like that, I very eagerly subscribe to the idiom that ignorance is bliss. I don't want to know. Don't let me know.
And of course,
I'm alright.
because it'll be foreign to you guys, it won't be used to your bodies. While it may die, it may also kill you outright because it doesn't know how to keep you alive to sustain itself and spread.
I mean, we're also assuming a lot about
Actually,
the way on these things this island works. Who knows if that's even the ecosystem we have there? I don't know. Luckily, we don't have microscopes.
So,
Well,
it's all in your
while
hands.
the musings of Vernon wishing that we had a microscope is amusing.
Not really.
With is there any other area of this place that has not been turned over, or did Juniao and I do a pretty thorough job?
Pretty thorough job. Like, Bakuatoa
Okay.
did not travel here with, or settle here with anything beyond some burnt up cloth and their spears.
I wonder if they built these tents, though.
Considering they include bits of person, yeah, it's a pretty good indication they probably built it. Bakuatoa are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
yes.
I wonder if there's other camp. I just wonder. Because they also took shit from the shipyard. I wonder why this is just clothes for these tents.
Maybe that's all they had.
How
Well-
did they get it?
Well, he might also be pointing out
Well, I
that
mean-
they were taking pieces of figureheads, and there's no figurehead pieces here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ashes in the fire, but it's hard to reconstruct. But figurehead stuff is usually well sealed, varnished, and all that there. It wouldn't go up immediately. It would take a lot of burning to finally break through those. What were you saying, Shelley?
I forgot.
Stellar.
I
Well,
am.
I'll hold out the wand and the component pouch to the two rangers and let them decide amongst themselves who gets what.
Do we want to rest here, or do we want to try and make our way back to the dwarven building?
I would imagine we should at least get a little bit of distance between ourselves and this place.
Well, if our newfound rescued hostages are at a like low 2 out of 10, like Corvus said, how far can we actually move them before we need to feed them?
Oh, they are eager to move. It's just building
Okay.
Right.
assistance.
This is the place that they were kidnapped, and also where they literally just watched someone get transformed into a monster and die. So
Right.
yeah, we should not stay here. We should,
But I don't
again,
think we can make it all the way back to the dwarven
right.
halfway
And
house.
then
Not
I'm-
under
I'm-
their own strength, but there is people who can help you.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could hoof it back to there.
How many days was that? I mean, is it days away?
It's pretty much an afternoon.
so we good.
Well, by that I mean it's about half a day.
Right.
But I mean, it's not like it's going to get dark or anything.
So unless there's objections or anything else someone wants to do here, recommend we turn around and make our way.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah,
Well,
let's just get away from here.
One thing, just while we're this far in, I mean, should we climb another tree and try to get a look at the other coast while we're here?
Sure, go for it.
I mean, I'm not gonna climb the fucking tree. I'm just saying, we're already here. Like, we might as well get a scope of the land. It won't take but a couple minutes, I think.
I'll go.
Thank you.
All right, I'll climb up a tree and try and see what else is around in case there might be something heading our way or some places that we should know about.
Give me a perception roll. The coastline, very rocky, inhospitable looking. Like, you're lucky you didn't come on that side, or else you would have been smashed up against them. Not sandy beaches, despite what the map shows, because the map is wrong. It shows this fucking... Like, it has
Does
a
it
boat
look
that's the size of a volcano.
Traversable, or is it just like don't even try?
Traversable, but not comfortable. The whole time it'll be climbing, scaling, threading things through instead of actual walking. What you'd call rough terrain.
Any other smokestacks or
There
giant
is.
phalluses on the?
There are no further penises. There's a colossal vagina, but that just seems to be a normal rock formation. Probably your own perception that's actually seeing that. There are some smokestacks around here.
Are they as big as the one that we saw coming up here?
Yes. Well, actually, no. Not for there, but whenever you were dealing with the ones on the beach beforehand. There are multiple pillars, not that big.
When you say multiple, how many are we talking?
Hard to tell, really, but you're thinking, like, best estimate around 4, maybe?
I'll come back down and let everyone know about the rocks and all the smokestacks. How far away did those pillars of smoke look?
That's your best estimate? If it was just, a straight line without all the jungle in the way? Probably about day's walk, day and a half. It's hard to work out the distances and the curvature of the Earth because Toril is a different kind of planet. But you think it'd be a decent journey?
Based on what I saw, does it seem like we are, what's the word I'm looking for? Like someone could reach us in a day, or we're pretty safe?
You have no idea, really. Like, you're just seeing a pillar of smoke. It's hard to trace or travel.
Okay, I'll come down and let everyone know.
Thank you.
Oh boy.
The ball's still in your court to do things.
I mean, I'm ready to start walking. I can help carry these people, I think. My strength.
Yeah, I'm keen to head back with our new friends. Although I would ask, what the heck happened to them? And how did they end up there?
They repeat a familiar story. The same kind of one that you got from the rest of the party. Fog crept in while they were sailing. Huge figure. Massive tall head with a bright light shining from it. Then they woke up on a shore. Where the story differs, of course, is that they were not able to fight off the Kuatoa. They haven't seen any other sailors, though.
So now Shelley's wondering where her batch of sailors went, and why this group is separated from the group that she's with now.
Correction, the two Saltmarsh ones say we didn't see anymore. The Kobold, however, points out that, yeah, he was here earlier than the rest of them. He saw them make the tents.
Oh.
There was about 8 other sailors. Didn't know them personally, they weren't on the same boat he was. But he does recount how some of them were peeled and then put up on the altar and they became the firemen.
Huh. Well, I hope none of those were my lot.
Well, as he said, he's been here before the Saltmarsh sailors showed up, so unlikely. Because you arrived at the island days later.
Yeah. Well, Shelley would be happy to help assist some of them getting out.
Yeah.
Probably the kobold. I mean,
Sure, go for the easiest job.
Shelley's small.
Probably carry both the other people.
Probably not the Dragonborn.
Oh, true. That might actually be a problem.
Yeah.
But I mean, healthy lean, maybe.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you've seen the terrifying Vezra.
Yeah, because we forgot to do the blessing. Oh,
Yeah.
it still hurts.
So, you've seen there's barely a handful of Dragonborn in Saltmarsh, with one less now. But they're all generally on the large scale.
Ha ha.
Indeed. But yeah, it's easy enough to return to the Dwarven shelter.
This will be good to get them out of the heat. What will we find us next?
There is a harumph from the Dragonborn, though, as she looks at the completely branch and foliage choked entrance.
I mean, how much more could we actually comfortably cut out of there?
Wouldn't take long, just a bit of a hassle.
Right. Well, might as well for comfort's sake.
Yeah.
We're trying to make them heal.
And a nice resounding "oh" once they get into the chill. The kobold especially calming down, now that he's out of sunlight. You see that he is fidgeting a lot less and just settling, although scooting himself back against one of the walls in a little corner.
Well, I mean, considering the circumstance, that's to be expected.
Does anyone fancy listening to the kobold more?
I mean, Shelley wouldn't mind actually talking to people.
He gets stuck on a little tangent as he talks about how, while they were peeling the sailors, they tried to pull at his skin as well and didn't come off as easily, so they just kept passing him up. They acted like they didn't seem to understand how to peel a kobold.
Wow, what a reason to live.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good, but it saved your life.
Some of the sailors also didn't go on fire. Instead, they sort of melted. They became see-through.
Yeah.
And the Kuatoa was really, really happy, or at least more active whenever that happened.
I wonder what the difference is for them. Because clearly they were after something.
Hmm. The pillars, the ones that go into more of like a pillar of smoke, do light them on fire and send them rushing forward to essentially die. Though I imagine that were we able to gauge a level of intelligence from either entities?
Not really. I mean, they seem to move with deliberate purpose.
Mm-hmm.
There was something to their actions, like they were, looking at you guys, then igniting the Kuatoa around them for the purpose of killing you.
Right.
But communication was nil, and it's not like you could see facial expressions or anything.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's in that case, this is just conjecture, but I would imagine that having one might be more intelligent and more of like potential leadership than just a destructive, fiery war machine or
And
something.
since it happened more than one day ago, I'll remind the party of the time they saw a translucent one of these, converting an orc into the same translucent creature.
Yeah, I was
Hmm.
thinking about those goblins earlier and wherever they went.
Yeah, that is fair. It could just be a matter of it um, using these.
Do you think like a bee mine type situation, the hive?
And
How
Ginny,
do you
the kobold figures he maybe saw about 5 of them, but also points out he passed out quite a few times from the heat, sunlight, and watching that happen.
That is interesting, though, that they were able to make those jelly like see-through dudes, and they didn't immediately go over to the person that they couldn't skin and try to transform him as well.
And also, like, they can do that, it seems, anywhere, but certain things need these altars or whatever.
Hmm.
Who knows what other kind of creatures are out there that we haven't seen yet?
Well,
I
I
did
mean,
not want to
as
think
as
about that.
Whooperting told you, the altar was for getting drunk and celebrating your ancestors.
Well, yeah, this seems to be where they did their ritual. I mean, there was clearly a ritual going on.
Yes.
It was more than just
Okay.
turning them into goop.
Right, I think the Kuatoa can turn them into goop or the pillars of smoke.
But why are
Can I
they?
point out? I think the Kuatoa are using it as an altar because they think that the altar has the power to do this.
They are like that. Heard.
I mean, potentially, but
But
at
also,
any rate, right? They're the ones doing it, and so far, I don't know that we've seen them like have prisoners outside of this one instance, with the exception of when they had the goop boy with them, and then that goop dude just did it himself because it was, I assume, significantly faster for him to just do it than to have the Kuatoa, I don't know, flop around and beat drums. Not to mention, they don't have to be subdued in order for him to do that. He can do it.
Oh
while
yeah, that's a
they're-
question. Did anyone decide to take one of the people drums?
No.
I don't think that's a great idea.
I mean, a
I
good
was a
tune
bard,
can
for
keep up
sure.
morale. You know, it's something to dance to.
Oh, great. That's the kind
You just have to turn it around so it's not showing the face.
No.
I'd rather, for fear I'd recognize one of the faces and then have to explain it.
Would be an awkward one.
Say we brought back all the crew members. This one's just a little more musical.
it would be tough to recognize because I mean it looks like they put on about 800 pounds horizontally.
Ooh. I think we should move on from the skin drums to something else.
The skin flute got you.
Ah, great.
Shirley suggests no more war crimes.
None?
None.
Any further chatter and topics? Any actual energy?
I mean,
It's y'all's turn. I've been talking. We're trying to.
I'm not the best talker.
I don't really have any questions for him.
I mean, I want them to get healthy first, and then once we're back at camp, I mean, I don't want to I don't want to interview them right now and make them feel worse.
Well, then you can propose, why don't we just, have our rest here and then continue back to camp?
All right.
Instead of just sitting in silence, suggest a course of action. Confer with your party members.
That would require talking.
Yes, it would.
Corvus was the party leader.
Not this time. Every other fucking time, but not this time.
Well, I don't want. I just like to make jokes.
Simon was not meant to be someone that people take the lead from.
But it's more fun when we did.
But then it turns out he's the only responsible one. No, it's alright, Ginny. You're exempted. The rest of them have no excuse.
There will be a pop quiz.
Yeah, to beat the final boss, you need to answer a full quiz. It's all about the events of the campaign.
I remember some of it.
50% of the mark is done on remembering character names.
Oh,
And spelling counts as well.
I don't even do that in real life.
So if spelling counts, I'm F.
It's always fascinating to see how people spell the names I come up with.
I wrote down what's this fuck? Rip a chip. I wrote that one down.
Yep.
I think that was pretty simple to spell. I'm not gonna be honest though.
What's his surname?
It's very
hold
similar to
on.
the first name.
Hold on. It is oh, I'm in the wrong campaign. Boat. There we go. Scribble Rich.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it.
What's Whooperting's surname?
I wasn't around for that.
I mean, you're kind of around for a Whooperting saga right now. Anyway, so the course of action for a party is that they want to continue to head back to camp, yes?
Yeah.
Let's give Ginny his talk. Oh, you're resting here for a night, of course. Not that you know it's night.
Yeah.
At this point, you guys have pretty much lost track of that.
Eat when you're hungry and sleep when you're tired.
It is a peaceful snooze, with no surprise guests. So you've got your hit dice back, you've got your hit points, your spell slots, it's all returned. Important stuff.
Yes.
And then you set forth again. And now, 3 of you will roll me a D100. They are much more comfortable.
41.
Mm-hmm. Ginny got a 64. 36.
Interesting spread here.
Mm-hmm. First day of the journey. There is noise within the jungles. It is the worst thing that could have happened. As you're all snacking, while still walking, the sugary fluids have drawn out interest.
Oh no. Oh no.
Buzzing interest.
Oh god.
Every edge of them seems to be sharpened to a fine point.
Fuck. Fuck. Fuck.
The swarm has fallen upon you.
I'm not equipped for this.
What do you do?
Run!
I'm going into the water.
Oh.
Um,
That's what I should run towards.
so, as a continuation of Jenny's question, how fast are our new friends? Are they if we were to bolt, are they going to lag behind?
And how fast could they go with help? You know, if we're like, you know,
The
whatever you do to help
kobold is
somebody.
doing very badly because it is constant sunlight.
We can carry him.
Penance isn't actually minding things too much. She still looks, undernourished and a bit weakened, but she's holding up alright. And Sulzat, it's hard to tell, but she seems to be walking at a very deliberate pace that's a little bit slower. Definitely not at full, but she's putting on a brave face.
Well, now is the time for, I guess, running. I don't know.
Run for now, and if it looks like they're going to if they're going to catch up to us, especially if they're going to catch up to the ones lagging, then I'm going to try something.
Let me know, because I will also just hit the shit out of them if you want. I'm sure I can hit some of them.
It is a dense swarm.
I can hit some of them.
The air itself around him is vibrating and wiggling in the heat haze.
I don't know. The water seems like it was a good idea.
I mean, you know that fun thing about how bees will cook an enemy by crawling all over it? These things could do that without intending it.
I say let's pick up our kobold friend and run. You know, maybe sort of at an angle towards the water just in case, but further up the beach mostly.
Gonna try and outrun them?
That's worth a shot. I mean, jumping in the water could be problematic.
For some of them, yeah. Because the main issue is, only 2 of you can breathe underwater.
Yep.
And swim speed also makes this complicated.
Well, swim speed's not as big of an issue, really. It's the fact that you can't just stay under there indefinitely.
Right. Actually, I guess we need since I can use my boots to walk on walls. Is there any way I could like hook onto the ground and walk that way? Underwater?
Not really, because while you're connected to the water, you're still having to push your body through the water. That's where the difficulty comes. Like, sure, you're attached and anchored, but you're still having to push your leg through the water.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You running? Is there...
Alright. If everyone's running... Well, you know what I mean, those who are running. Like, those who go for water have no problem.
Yep, I would be under the water.
Yeah, Shelly immediately ditches everyone.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
the
we
rest
have
of for the rest of you who want to leg it, you are running on sand. It's a bit tricky for some of you. For the non-rangers, it'll be athletics.
Okay.
For the rangers, it's dexterity. You're used to rough terrain.
Since the kobold's a bad shape, could I actually potentially carry him, and how would that affect my rolls?
It wouldn't.
Okay.
You have a
Then I
lot of
won't-
carrying capacity spare because you're not carrying anything except your anchor.
S- Since we're not in initiative, if I do rage to get advantage, how would that if we go to combat? How would that roll in?
This isn't going to go into combat.
Okay.
I mean, you
I
can
am
still fucking die, but it's not going to go into normal combat rounds.
All right, then I'm gonna rage for advantage on the check.
This is about working out what you want to do to make this work. Yeah, it'll
I think
be
running is- sorry.
for those who are running across the beach. It'll be dexterity for the rangers, athletics for everyone else. No, just dexterity. Or, yeah. So it's easier for you, but you don't get the benefit of proficiency.
Ooh.
Yeah, Azor, Rainy, you guys are lagging behind with Whipperting and the Dragonborn. Pendant's
Sure, we're
managed to
gonna
push
fight.
herself through, but it's not going to go for much longer. And Ripachip
Water?
is just dangling in Vernon's hand.
Oh, great. I hope I don't drown him on accident if I go to the water. Oh shit.
I mean, you'll
Kinda
drown
weird
at the same time, probably.
Yeah, but I mean, what if I can use him as a weapon?
Once.
How closely are they gaining on after the rolls?
Yeah, they are gaining at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it's a territory thing, and if we get far enough away, we'll stop pursuing.
How high are they flying?
They are actually hugging pretty close to the ground. Like it's a cloud around about 5 to 6 feet tall.
In that case, I'm my best to aim a casting of wall of water to hope that they are like the other things on this island and get hurt with water. Cast it like right in front of them so that they fly into it and have to go through it.
That's a
At
pretty
best,
good
it would
spell.
create the terrain to.
Alright, you've done your action. Anyone else doing anything?
Or at worst, I should say.
How far ahead of am I far ahead of the group, or
Yeah.
how far?
The group has basically been split in three now.
Okay. So it's gonna be tough for me to go back and help at this point. I guess I can slow down a bit so they have time to catch up. I don't want to be too far ahead.
And you could always reach back and try to pull someone else along.
Yeah, I mean, if I can do anything directly, I would definitely go for the helping hand type route.
Only one of the people back there is accepting your help.
Fair.
Well, I mean, technically two. Rainy might. But Sulzad is the main one. Whipperting will actually run harder at the idea that you might try to help him.
That's my intention, see?
Just to fuck you.
Yeah, but definitely gonna try to help a Dragonborn friend along. And I'm pretty sure Rainy just got off to a bad start, so I'll give her like a boost if I can, but
Wall of water van.
Mm-hmm.
I assume Shelly just walks underwater, contributing so much.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I am swimming.
Wall of water. A big chunk of the swarm does hit the wall of water. Some of them actually managing to get through, but they are just like bullets falling to the ground. It's kind of like whenever you douse, or whenever you keep a reptile in the cold or whatever, like all of the energy is sapped out of them. They are just falling to the floor, milling around, unable to start flying again.
is there any
Doesn't
like
stop.
steam when they hit the water, or
Yeah,
if they stop heating up?
yeah, they steam. But
Man, I'm
then
glad
once
you
they
did
go
that.
through it, it's enough water that it has doused them basically, and they are barely conscious. Because, for all the intense heat in them, they're very small, and that's a lot of water. And we'll pretend that the water appears at a room temperature, because it doesn't specify anything else.
It would still have an effect even if it didn't.
So the majority of the swarm is distracted and debilitated, but not fully out.
Keep pumping.
Hmm?
I was saying keep pumping, keep running, and see if that's enough to potentially get enough distance to where they give up, or if we're gonna have to full on do something about this.
Alright, you know how it is. Athletics for the Norms, dexterity for the Rangers.
Go, go, go. Go, team, go.
Need a roll from you, Pio. Unless you've got a suggested course of action.
Feeling agility work here?
Yeah, it would. You've got to suggest these things. Pio?
She's muted on Discord right now.
Okay. But there's a hint for you, Ginny. If you want to use your feline agility, you could re-roll.
Oh no! the one roll. Oh.
Nice. Very nice.
I'm sorry I suggested it.
That was alright. He'd already chosen to run.
Yeah, and the water wall thing. And that spell is coming super handy. That's really useful.
The swarm is very small now, due to the wall of water. Most of them were doused and are now just disorientated and unable to fly.
Fuck it. Shoot him.
One of them bursts apart. Congratulations. The sound, yeah.
They're small enough, maybe the sound wave could have an effect on them.
Yeah, but the sound wave comes from the gun,
So just throw the gun at him.
not from the impact. Sort of. Yes, good idea. Throw the gun at the swarm. I'll be back in a moment, so have a thought on what you might do for the next round.
I'm also gonna be right back.
Okay. And they were never heard from again.
Got two other things I could try. I could either do a snowball swarm and see if I can't pelt the rest dead, or I could do another wall of water and I could either just let that take out another wave, or meta magic quicken a ray of frost that will turn a wall of ice, so they hopefully go and die as they're flying full speed into a wall of ice.
That could work. That could even annoy them enough where they give up.
Those are my two options that I'm throwing around in my head. Or I guess three, because I could always just cast it again and pray. If I had Shatter instead of Thunderwave, then I could just Shatter at them, which I assume would fuck them up, but I don't want to let them get close enough for Thunderwave.
Not to mention Thunderwave's loud.
True.
It might attract unwanted attention. Like the king.
I do love the idea that the worst unwanted attention at this point isn't a monster or like more uh um I think there were lizard folk that fought us. No, it wasn't lizard folk, it was the
Fire
goblins
nukes.
and goblins, yeah. Um or more of them like finding us, it's the king showing up.
And being creepy AF.
By most accounts, I think the king has just been gross. It's the wife that's been
Yeah, but the
deeply
king's
upsetting.
making her creepy.
Yes, yes. His influence is definitely the cause, but he's just kind of gross. He's that one cousin, like really young cousin that is just always nasty for some reason.
Cousin no one really wants to see or spend time with, but the older generation forces you to.
All right, I'm back in play.
Welcome back.
Ah, you're back as well.
Yes. Cat knocked over something, had to clean it up.
Cordell?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone else except Ginny?
Ye.
Well, you're not in mic is all I mean, Ginny. Because you're still chatting on your phone, getting potential work. Excellent.
Yes.
Alright, now that everyone's back, how about some fucking energy?
I warmed up a moon pie in the microwave.
Why?
Oh, why not?
Taste, decency, potentially.
I didn't even know that people heat up their moon pies.
If you don't, you're doing it wrong. I mean, you're doing it wrong anyway, but if you should, if you do.
I won't judge. I mean, I prefer my burritos from the fridge.
I'm judging. I'm judging the burritos, by the way.
It works really well for pulled beef ones. Like the way it firms it all up and gets the cheese right through it, instead of just pooling at the bottom. The rice loses a bit of texture, but otherwise it all comes together very nicely. Like it's something you probably bite through. Anyway. So, Ginny finally kills something with his pistol. Something he's been waiting for. He explodes one bug.
Nice.
The swarm are now agitated.
Have they learned from the wall of water, or are they still flying low?
Well, luckily the loud noise gave them something to direct themselves at. For me? Why? What do you think happens? Have you ever dealt with a swarm of bees or wasps?
No, but I used to throw rocks at wasp nests when I was a kid.
Killing them makes them angry. Oh, why for moon pies, right? So on the bright side, Azur, they're not paying as much attention to you, or Rainy, or Sulzat. They are paying attention to the blue cat man running away. Just because he's the source of the noise.
Have they, are they still low to the ground like they were before?
Pretty low, yeah.
Okay, so if they're low enough for another wall of water, then I've got an additional step I'm going to add to it to hopefully.
You also get the
it
relief
done
of
once
seeing
for all.
in the component pouch there is an uncracked vial for carrying fluids. There is a way to transport water.
Or with the wand, I won't need that. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Or I took the amulet pendulum thing.
Yeah, pendulum. Just dangle it in front of you and it swings.
I'm going to wall of water again, quicken ray of frost and hit it so that it creates a wall of ice on one of the sections. And hopefully they're flying with enough force to potentially either smack themselves enough to confuse and befuddle, or the process of hitting and then having to fly over and around will take enough time to let us get further away.
Yeah, that is enough to fully disperse it. Like, a lot of them are whacking it with such force and then getting pummeled by the others behind them that they're not getting up again. Wings are too bent. It'll take a while. Because, yeah, using 2 level 3 spells, that gets rid of a swarm of insects.
God, I hope so, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what those things do, but I'm glad we don't get to find out today.
But tomorrow, they'll be back.
They can do this. You don't know what it does, but they can do that.
Find out.
They can
Aha.
give you a burning sensation. No, you can't.
I ain't clicking anyway. I don't fucking care.
Behind the chat with whatever the hell this says.
Yep. Won't give you the information.
29D. 4. This isn't anything.
4 doesn't mean anything. It's the most useless of numbers, obviously. Alright. Then we had a 64. Day or 2 passes of further travel. Then, midday, there is a figure ahead. 2 figures, in fact, once you pick them out from the silhouette.
Oh dear.
Could be anybody.
It's a pretty broad-shouldered figure, holding what
Okay.
looks like most of a pig, and quite a lot of blood pouring everywhere. It looks like Truth has found some bacon.
Yeah.
Birkin.
That's good.
The
Thinking
thing
of a
is
feast
still...
to welcome our
yeah.
new members.
The boar still has a bit of
Anyway.
life in it, and you can see that it, as it's snorting hurriedly, trying to get the last of its energy through. There's even licks of flames from the snout.
Whoa!
And the blood you notice
Okay.
now is actually sizzling and cooking on the sands.
Yeah, none of this registers as weird anymore. So yeah, Shelly just waves.
I mean, that's convenient. It's pre-cooked.
And I say we always come to this question, is it pre-cooked? No, it couldn't be pre-cooked or else it wouldn't function properly. Would it be more resistant to heat and therefore be difficult to cook? More likely.
Yeah.
Fuck it, I'll eat it raw.
Go ahead. How's your constitution?
Well, you know.
I can tell you
Sarcasm
one
and all
thing,
that.
it's not strong enough for salmonella. Fuego Grande salmonella at that.
I don't know how to make a pun out of that.
But she does pull her massive scaled hand out from the thing's throat where she had pushed it in, and just waves while the gore drips. No, it was 2 silhouettes, as in, it was hard to tell at first if it was 1 creature or 2, and then you realize it's Truth and the boar. Of course, the moment she's waved, she doesn't look to get a response, she just goes back to dealing with the boar that is trying
yeah.
to toss its head around and gore her in the side.
That would really suck if she got gored by a boar.
Yep, instead you watch as she grabs hold of it. She forces her hand right into the neck hole again, brings it over her head and just throws it onto the ground. Then again, and again, until the legs stop moving.
That was kind of cool.
She's fucking painted. As is most of the beach around her. It's at this point that you guys have caught up to her.
Yay.
I can see the hunting's gone well.
She narrows her eyes as she sees the rest of the new sailors with you. You see her mouth move a little bit, but she doesn't say anything. Pointing at each of them.
Ah,
Then down to Boar. Then she just pushes it to you guys before going back into the jungle.
wow, she can count really fast.
For Vernon, yeah, she probably does count
probably.
faster than him.
Yep.
I think at this point we should probably do something to assist in the hunting so that they don't get too burnt out on having to, well, feed us all.
Yeah, yeah.
I can
mean-
help with fish in the ocean.
I could probably do that to a boar.
I'd like to see you try.
Well, the problem for me would be finding it personally. I guess I'll pick up the boar and take it back to camp while we're going.
Well, you've still got a day or two to get back there.
Yeah, but I'll carry it for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I would just replicate what I did to Wooperting. I wouldn't try to wrestle it. I'm not gonna wrestle him.
Okay, so first you let it get a couple of shots in your balls, and then you fight back.
Yeah. Builds resistance.
Well, it's to get you angry. You need to be angry enough to take it on.
I can literally do that at will. I just think about not having mud.
You say you could do it at will, but it's like twice, yeah?
Now, 3 times.
3 times now, okay.
And then I have to sleep for a little bit.
Gotta have a good snooze, build up that temper again.
Oh yeah, babies get tired out really easy.
I'm gonna have a nice dream and think of how bullshit this world is when I wake up again, and I'm gonna be properly angry.
Oh, I hate everything. Ah. Yeah.
Why can't I be fucking king?
Why am I so stupid?
You wouldn't question that, you wouldn't know.
I think, you know, maybe
Why does
one day I
everyone
can work
act-
towards that.
Why does everyone
That
act
does-
smarter than me?
There you go. Why does everyone else think they're so fucking smart? Ah, they're all stupid.
They are stupid. They don't understand the power of mud.
And hitting things.
You know what? I'm gonna use one of the characters as a mouthpiece. Don't encourage him.
You know, it needs to be
that's
said,
what I've
but
said. But nobody listens.
well, some people do. But
Well,
other people just, you know,
look, I would love to not encourage him, but unless you can find some other way to keep us entertained, I'm going to continue to exploit him.
I mean,
that.
we could just let Wooperting attack Azure. That'd be fun.
That would be fun, yes.
Is he so entertaining now, Azure?
Just because I had one good idea, now I'm not funny anymore.
I'm keeping track of who's suggesting what. Don't worry.
Another day passes. Quiet, peaceful. You know, if it wasn't so intolerably warm at all times, and also if it was night sometimes, this would be a pleasant desert island. Instead, it's a constantly hot hell, which you can never escape the glare of bright sunlight, even when the sun goes away. It's just constant, baking heat. But on the bright side, there's a penis you're walking towards. And you know that that means home right now. There's comfort there with the dick.
After we had gotten all the clothes and stuff from that encampment, did we have extra that we could have brought for the people back here?
Yep. There's a fair
Okay.
supply.
That'll be good.
A lot of
then.
it needs restitching and all, but that is just a little bit of time.
I'm sure. the fanfish can get to a bit of sewing potentially.
And quite a few
be-
sailors need to do it as
So
well
much
because,
overtime.
you have to repair sails.
That's fair.
I guess we should probably update everybody on what happened.
Mm-hmm. Or yes, you are back in the crevasse.
Home sweet home.
Sweet home Alabama.
Not a whole lot has changed. They're still the free sailors. Although they have done a little bit more deconstruction work on some of the driftwood, and there's now benches, tables, a few larger table-look areas that might be for a bed. There's surfaces. That's always handy.
Good job,
good to see.
guys.
There's also a very sad-looking fire newt sitting right next to Lefanfish's abattoir.
Uh-oh!
He's unarmed.
Ah.
He's just sitting there, shivering.
You guys remember when we massacred his entire family?
This one has an arrow sticking through its side.
Ah!
It's a familiar-looking arrow.
Yeah, that's the one that we shot at.
Why didn't we murder him?
I was under the impression that we had.
Actually, the more I think about the king, the more I think they might have actually been trying to save his wife from him.
Potentially.
I think we may be fucked up. Well.
Lefanfish raising his head to you guys. Hello.
Hello. How you holding up?
Lack of materials. I have done much work. There is not much I can do now.
We appreciate as much as you have done. I'm going to throw the clothes over on one of the tables that have been made and kind of catch any of the eyes of the butt-naked sailors and wave them over and have them start distributing.
Yeah, very quick to work on that there. They've managed to pick apart a few fish bones for needles. And they set to work pretty liberally. Soon, dongs are gone. All dongs, except the main one, the beacon, are covered.
Yay, pants for all.
Most of the tattoos are covered too.
Achievement unlocked. Pants.
I mean, it's the reason I want the Ragnarok DLC for Titan Quest. They labeled that as one of her bullet point features. You can finally wear trousers. Because Greeks didn't understand. Greeks just wanted skirts and tunics. The fanfish just rummages around with his large clawed mitt, sifting through his shirts and trousers. Picks up a fairly weedy looking jerkin that he just slides over his shoulders. And just goes back to work.
If there's any left over once they're done picking through it, feel free to figure out what you can do with the rest of that as well. I'd save some in case we find some other people, but
No good for bags, no good for weapons. It's just for covering weak, fleshy body.
We can eat it? Can we not eat that? Another thing?
You can eat weak, fleshy body, yes.
Oh. I'll keep that in mind.
I've heard is bad for you.
Right. Well, in that case, potentially find something that's not going to be good for covering up, as you put it, weak, fleshy bodies. And we can tear it up for some cloths and potentially use it for stopping bleeding in the future.
Good idea. We should probably
Would-
clean
It'd
it
be
off
nice-
first, though.
It'd be nice to have something that could work as a bag.
Can make bags, yes. This will make bags. You want shoulder, you want to hold in hand, you want belt on.
Shoulder
that pig.
bag?
Put it here, I will make with that.
Yes. Glad I carried this whole way.
Your whole back is just slathered in dried blood.
Looks kind of like mud from afar. I'm good.
Yeah. He did. You now have 2 quivers. 20 arrows each.
Hell yeah.
Downside, no actual quiver. You've got 40
Well,
arrows
maybe
that are
we can
loose.
Maybe use this cloth at least to bind them up.
Yeah. Could essentially just tie it around so that they're in a bundle and
I mean, there's one
Be
very
careful.
narrow bag, but it's made from a hollowed out fire guinea pig.
A fire guinea pig?
He's just removed all the bones and innards. It's just a little furry bag that you put stuff in for the mouth.
Ah, high fashion.
Yes.
What's high fashion?
Wearing
Guinea
guinea
pig
pigs around
handbag.
your belt.
There is also, to those with decent hearing, a buzzing sound.
Fuck. Oh wait, I know what that is.
Yeah,
Still
you know what
fuck.
that is. That was the problem you left for days.
Eh,
It's still there. Just a reminder.
I mean, we had a secondary plan with the sunlight thing, right? Just like break open the ship so it's all sun filled. Because currently it's just we put a bunch of shit on top of the vent, right?
Yeah. You 4 intents blocked the supply of more of them.
But the problem was not dealt with.
I mean, how long are we really gonna be? Corvus keeps on bringing it up, so I feel like it's gonna explode soon. But we have an idea at least. We know they died of sunlight.
Yes.
So maybe we have more hands. Maybe we can actually take some time to tear open the top of the ship and just beam it right in.
This is something the rest of the party should probably chip in on. State
Yes.
an opinion.
Was I actually here for this original incident?
No, I don't
don't
think so.
believe
No.
so.
Yeah, so I actually would not be commenting until somebody clued me in that there was a problem.
Bees,
Nope.
flies. Doesn't sound
Yes.
as good to say that.
Just say bugs.
Buzzies.
Where are bugs?
There's an
In one of the
artifact. Someone's...
ships.
Yeah.
Actually, Ginny, it's quite muffled and it's really background noise. Like the water splashing around and people stepping about. That is much louder. Because it's all contained within the ship. Not quite as pleasant as white noise, but it's
Oh.
background noise. It would be in the ambience slider.
Why aren't the bugs being dealt with?
You know, it's kind of handled.
There's some sort of artifact that's spawning the bugs. In the process of plugging it up so we could have time to think, some of us wanted to go ahead and let the light in to begin with. Others were just concerned with covering it up. And as a result, it was covered and we didn't address it yet.
Oh, okay.
Personally, I think the easiest solution is also likely the simplest of just catch it on fire and the ship will be gone, but so will the bugs.
I mean, the smoke might attract unwanted attention.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of smoke already. Do you really think more smoke would attract more attention?
See, we don't know how intelligent the enemies are, so who knows if they actually are accounting for all the smokestacks? Who knows if they notice an extra one? It's a risk. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not a good solution. It's just that's a big risk.
I will also point out that the king is picking out finery for his wife.
Oh, so the king is back.
Oh yeah, they were there.
So our other alternative, the other choice would essentially be to rip apart the bugs enough to where rip apart the boat where the bugs are enough to where light goes in. Speaking of which, it kind of doesn't make sense that we plugged it up anyways, considering light. They don't like the light; they won't enter the light.
Well, you're forgetting it wasn't just the bugs. There was the source of the bugs.
Yep.
Right.
There was a desiccated halfling corpse, and the bugs were pouring out from its face.
Yes. Do we remember exactly where on the ship the halfling was?
It was in the hold.
Like,
basically the belly of the
I
ship.
mean, right. I mean more so like if I were to be on deck and I wanted to break just the section where the halfling was so that light hits the halfling, would I be able to?
Someone would have to go down and
I-
kind of coordinate a little bit.
Did
Okay.
we recognize the halfling?
Nope.
Okay.
What about? I mean, what about the potential of just even taking the instead of just beaming the sun onto the halfling, moving like maybe opening up some of the ship, but then just grabbing the halfling and moving it into the sunlight itself? Because I mean, it took some time to get a bunch of bugs where it couldn't move. I don't know. Those both involve, I think, breaking open the top of the ship and then either descending with a ladder or breaking up more of the ship.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind removing whatever it was that we plugged the hole with, because honestly, at this point, I don't remember. And then slowly chipping away the wood in the direction of the halfling. That way, no one has to go down. We're just slowly breaking them up,
Yeah,
breaking
and
up the top, and making our way towards it.
even then, once the sunlight's in there, we can even move it out further from there if we want. Who knows if it like dissolves or whatever.
Yeah. The issue would be that the bugs would still be in the ship, they just wouldn't enter the light. Though they would
Right.
be contained and wouldn't spawn anymore. Like, if they were to die, because if any were to die because it got pushed into the light, they'd be dead. They wouldn't respawn. Like, have more fill their place.
I don't know. I mean, I think. What do you think? That over the burning of the ship? What do you think?
I understand and kind of do agree with your point of not wanting to draw unwelcome attention. Even if they were even if they were aware of where all the smokestacks were and followed the smokestacks, around or whatever, and they kept track and were smart enough to realize that this was a new one and or not one of theirs. Even if they weren't smart enough to do that, I would be concerned at the prospect of potentially a go to a scouting party or something else using the smokestacks in the sky to return to their designated.
Right. So if they're too stupid, they could just get lost.
Well, too stupid, or we've seen some Kuatoa without these burning men around, right? So
Yeah.
it could be that if they're off without it and they're trying to get back to it, they could see ours, mistake it for one, and it would still draw them. There still is that chance.
Yeah, we just need to know more about their enemy first.
So I would not be opposed to just tearing it up and hoping that that works well.
Or we could just leave it for longer.
As Azur has been talking, the king's wife has just slowly lulled herself over to the group. And as he moves his head around to look at the boat, observe, talk to the rest of you, and make eye contact, she is mimicking his head movements, but not his arm movements. Just standing there, perfectly matching the movement of his head.
That's kind of the most normal thing she's ever done, I think.
Unfortunately. So that's
I can't say much.
Unless we're remembering this incorrectly, that should be a safe method, I feel. I'm just going to ignore her because she creeps me the fuck out. And much like the bugs, Azure is perfectly content with ignoring a problem rather than actually facing it head on.
Some of these are going to bite us later, but not all of them.
Are Azur's horns pointy? Or stubby?
I would
Seems like a
imagine
point
they
kind
come.
of guy to me.
Yeah, they've got pretty decent points to them. Not like incredibly sharp, but
Like a pen tip.
yeah, yeah. You'd probably have to jab really hard to draw blood or something.
It's not that hard with a pen.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see her extend a finger and try to press it against the tip of your horn.
Yeah, I'm pulling back from that.
And she keeps pursuing slowly.
Keep moving. All right.
I should headlock Azure right now.
Okay. Is she approaching like she wants to cut herself on the horns, or she just wants to like touch them?
She's just walking forward with her finger outstretched like the tip she wants to press on the horn.
Someone stop her.
Let me put you in a headlock.
No, that would make it easier for her.
Yeah.
The king is currently occupied trying to put on a shirt. It'll be a tough fight.
Quick, lead her somewhere funny so the king doesn't know where she is.
I'm just gonna cut an eye to Shelly, considering that was part of the conversation we had the other time.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, try to lead her away. Hey, you want to help with some of this over here?
Yeah, you don't exist in her world right now.
Oh boy.
Slowly. Oh, the king is that way. So I'm just gonna slowly start luring the creepy lady.
She's just following you the whole time.
Starting to realize, oh shit, I'm gonna get to a point where I cannot escape her.
Like tile by tile, she's following.
About this point, she's thinking, oh shit, now what? What do?
What's your next plan?
I don't know.
He's just backing away tile by tile.
We could get in the water a little bit.
She stops at the water,
Yeah, fuck you.
where she kneels down and begins to cry loudly.
You
But it's
fucking
not shown in
asshole.
her eyes, it's just the noise coming out of her mouth.
I'm so confused.
There's no tears, it's just the sound of someone crying.
Maybe she's just a really, 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 really good method actor. Like insanely good.
Does she look sad
she-
at the
She's
water?
insane, all right.
There is no expression on her face, really, it's just her mouth that's moving.
Ooh.
It feels like it's a child throwing a tantrum because they weren't allowed to do the thing that popped into their head. Azur's going to dip under the. How clear is the water here? Like, can you see the bottom?
Yeah, it's pretty churned up.
Okay, He's gonna dip under the water and move back a little bit to see if, like, maybe him getting out of her vision will snap her out of the crying fit she's having.
There's the sound of splashing now.
Oh god, is she getting in the water?
For those who get their eyes on her can see that she's throwing stones into the water very angrily.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's a literal tantrum. She's a child throwing a tantrum.
I would go over and ask what's the matter.
She just throws her arms around you, and it's a vice-like grip and a hug. And you feel
I hug
really,
her.
really cold.
I very gently rub her back. It's okay. It's okay.
Whenever you put your hand on her and just the contact, there's no body temperature there. She is ice cold.
Oh.
Necromancy might explain some of these things.
Yeah, she's a fucking corpse that this dude has
I don't like
put
it.
enough faith into that now
Believe
it's a
your life.
living thing. Yeah.
Ah, that means we don't have to feel bad about murdering her because she's already dead. Right,
I just
guys?
kind of ask, what's the matter?
She locks eyes with you as she pulls herself away slightly. Was meant to get away. Water was meant to be escape. Water was meant to take me away. Water was meant to get me away. Water put me here. Water did not silence it. Water did not keep it away. And it's those statements, but on a bit of a random repeat.
What is the king doing while all of this is going on?
He's got the left sleeve sorted out, but it's on his right arm. So, you know, it's a work in progress.
What water? What are you trying to get away from?
Kept making me want to do things. It kept telling me what to do. It kept telling me what to do. It told me it was important. It kept telling me what to do. It never stopped telling me what to do.
What were you being told to do?
I don't know, the voice, the images, the dreams, it all just kept on coming and coming and coming. It just kept telling me to do more, to stop doing this, to give it up and keep on going.
Can you give a specific of what you were told to do?
The black moon howls.
The Black Moon howls, okay. And I'm kind of looking at the others like, help.
The sand that burns your feet.
Do you think you were told about here?
I was meant to die.
Do you think you were meant to die on the ship?
It told me every morning, every time I woke up, I was meant to do something and I was meant to die. It was
Well,
showing
it's
me
okay,
horrible
you're not-
things I was meant to walk in front of and get killed by. Every morning, every night. I tried to stop sleeping and that didn't work. It found me when I was awake. It never stopped.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't die. Maybe we can fix whatever was telling you about that.
The voice only stopped recently. It keeps trying to come back.
What did the voice sound like?
It was everything. It was mine. It was yours. It was my parents. It was everyone I knew. It was the wind. It was the sun. She breaks into a very, very long smile. She just holds it there.
Right.
You're now free of her grip. You still feel very cold.
Okay. I kind of look at the others to figure out what the heck. What do?
What did you say about the black moon?
The black moon rises.
She screams.
Oh, no. It's okay. The black moon is not rising. I'm just telling them what you said.
She hunches down, curls up in a ball.
You could always just roll her into the water.
Jesus.
I agree.
Am I with a group of murderers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even
I
Pio
mean,
wanted to kill the 3 sailors because they weren't useful immediately. Trying to say it was practical.
Well, my worst security risk.
Does the black moon rises mean anything to any of us? Like, have we heard that saying before?
Sounds sinister.
Sounds like a pretty
Yeah.
badass bard song.
I was about to say, yeah, that's essentially asking how many of us have been in a cult before, because that's some cult shit.
And several of the group raised their hands, but we're not going to identify who. Just know that one of them was a crab claw.
That's deeply upsetting and something that should be unpacked later. But,
Oh no, it wasn't
not?
deeply unsettling, it was just the deep ones.
By the way, when she started screaming, if we look over at the king, did he like react at all, or
He's really trying to get that sleeve on.
wow?
I think she does
okay.
this all the time. You know, okay, hear me out. I know there's a lot of mystery around the king and this girl still, but we could just entirely stop this storyline and kill both of them right now.
No, we are not murderers.
You are for hire murderers? Yes. That is what
Mhm.
adventurer is. No?
Pretty much.
Well,
Adventurers are
mad
just
people.
people who go to places and enact their will on those there.
Hmm. Places meant to be made better, though.
We're the
You win
good
some,
guys.
you lose some.
Is what Simon says.
Simon says a lot.
Roll a d4.
Simon says work together. Simon says communicate.
Hey, we communicated a little bit,
You
sort
have
of.
earned yourself 2 dishonor points.
Ooh.
For doubting the words of Simon.
Okay, does it count that I wholeheartedly believed them? Does that
It wasn't
remove any
so
dishonor
much
points?
doubting
Well, it's
the
not.
words.
You
as
don't lose
it
the
was-
points. Snook does. It's on his character.
But
It
I
wasn't-
have points I want to get rid of.
Then you have to
wasn't
uphold them instead of just believing in them.
It wasn't so much doubting as it was continuing the play on words of Simon says.
The tone was sincere. Azure didn't believe in those words. Correct?
I don't think Azure has ever had a sincere sentence in his life, but
So yeah. Dishonor is held up. There we go.
Who has the most points right now?
I think it's
You.
pretty even.
I have 5.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
you.
it's you. I have 2.
Jeez.
I think Jenny has 1.
1.
I thought he had 8 or something. I was hoping really hard he had like 8.
Fuck yourself.
Nope. You are still the biggest disappointment.
I'm going to point
Oh.
out Rainey has 0.
Well,
I'm okay with only a little bit of disappointment.
I swear I was trying to play a good character for once.
No, you
Like a good
weren't. You
line
showed up
character.
as a fucking idiot mudman who wants to build hotels of mud.
Well, I
Also,
wanted to be
his
good aligned.
also in his family tree was a really shitty vampire.
The worst vampire.
So
When
don't you try
Shelley-
and fucking lie to me. You came with a shitlord.
The worst. But I want to be good aligned.
Shelley hugged this lady, was it cold on touch, or what was like the air around her cold?
Both.
So is this gonna be like some ancient deity is whispering in her ear, telling her that she's like meant to be a sacrifice, or
I don't.
like
I
are
think
we
she might.
unpacking this at all, or are we just gonna let that get glossed over?
There's a
I'm
noise.
thinking.
Hang on. There's a
Oh.
noise like she's clearing her throat. At which point the king throws off his shirt and bounds over to her. He does that thing of stroking her hair, but he does it like a person who's stroking a dog's head too hard. You can almost see her eyelids getting peeled back.
Oh, gross. When she was throwing the rocks into the water, were they wet or were they dry? And if they were wet, were they kind of frosty when she threw them, or
No.
You saying she's like an ice witch or something? Is that what you're hinting at?
They were wet rocks, but they were just damp.
okay?
Or, to put it another way, moist.
Don't ever do that again.
Everyone's favorite word.
I love Moist Critical's great, dude.
Yeah.
The two most unpleasant words, moist and gusset.
Gusset isn't that bad.
Yeah.
But if you combine the two, it's a horrible thing.
How is she reacting to the violent petting? Is she welcoming of it, or
She actually calms down pretty quick, yeah. That and the bubbling froth dripping on her seems to help.
Yeah, that's super
Yeah, pay grade.
You're just jealous because you haven't found anyone. Those are relationship goals.
You think the froth is like sedating her or something?
I mean, it's mainly just
quite
splatting on
possible.
her hair and her shoulder.
I think she's just dead, and his power to make things believe in things is probably accurate.
I mean, you do have
Something
an
like that
option
says.
here. If you want to see if there's a sedative aspect to his froth, you could just have Vernon lick it.
Yeah, I'm down.
We could.
Everyone is fine with that idea.
He won't mind,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sure. I'll give him a little smooch.
I will also note, of course, that P.O. was very quiet during the suggestions of we should just kill them. She wasn't saying yay or nay. Do you have a
prefer
vote?
not to.
Prefer not to, but perfectly fine if they did, yeah.
I mean, I think if we can make a compelling argument to kill them, we should. But I don't know if there is one.
The
I
answer
feel
is
like-
no.
I feel like we don't necessarily need to make a compelling argument for the majority of people here, as they're probably equally creeped out by this shit.
I'm creeped out by it, but that doesn't mean that we murder people.
Well, she's not alive. I think
Please
she's already
don't
dead.
throw around
If
this
we don't
we-
know that she's not alive, we don't kill people.
Well,
Just
the
because
king
we go, well,
definitely
they
isn't a
might
person.
be dead.
You keep throwing around this "we" word.
She seems alive to me.
She's up and moving.
But what's
When
with the cold
Shelley-
thing?
when Shelley hugged her, was there a heartbeat?
Why
I
don't
don't know
you
if
go
Shelley would have
check,
noticed,
bud?
really.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have been like looking for that.
Plus, they were both actually clothed.
Well, am I clothed?
It's up to you. There was plenty of spare clothing.
She might have just gotten, like a little something around like the top or something, but she
All
wouldn't
right,
have
t-shirt
bothered.
dress.
Yeah.
Sure. Just
Are
saying
you
there were
gonna-
options.
Is Vernon gonna let him lick?
I mean, I'll give the king a little smooch. You know what I'm saying?
Go right ahead.
Well, Vernon, how do you approach a situation you volunteered for?
Yeah, I'm just gonna get up and I'm gonna hey, hello, my king. I'll give him a little smooch. Get a little tongue in there to get sop up some of the good gerbil.
His eyes widen for a second, and there's just a resounding as he slaps you on the face. Like,
That's
not
fair.
sideways, though, downwards. Like, he catches you on the forehead with his palm and just brings it down.
That's fair.
And then there is just a flurry of frothy bubbles coating your face as he spits at you. And then
Excellent.
and then kneels down and puts his arms around his wife. He is
Oh.
a married man, sir. How dare you?
I'm sorry, my king. In another life, perhaps.
So,
The fuck was that?
That was Vernon.
I think I'm gonna hurl.
let's be honest here. When it comes to the player, that's probably not the worst he's done.
No. No. It was the worst.
Of his previous
Healing-
romantic conquests.
Healing the deranged. What was it?
It's a naked bugbear or something like that.
Yeah, it was like a naked hobgoblin or something.
Oh,
we're
yes,
trying
that's
to
right. Yeah, when
provide.
he would.
Yeah.
When
Claude.
yeah, the bad touch cleric.
Yeah.
Pinning a stoned, naked hobgoblin against the wall. Kind of
Panic,
doing a
okay?
search on him, kind of just pinning them there because it wasn't about the dominance, it was about power.
I panicked.
My favorite bit of that, though, was the dude who was just throwing stones at everyone, and how long he survived.
Oh, I remember him. He was harmless.
Yep.
So, Vernon, do you feel different? Like a
It's
changed
nasty.
man?
It's super nasty. Like, it's something that only eats raw fish, but is also a raw fish.
Yeah.
Flavored in water format, also with a hint of salt.
I just feel sad because I was rejected.
Did that awaken something in you, big guy?
You don't have to worry about this Vernon guy, right? He sleeps with the fishes. You mean he's dead? No. Oh, please, I just had cod. Yeah, you don't feel calm or anything. I mean, heartbroken, maybe.
This is disgusting. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go jump in the water.
It's just disgusting.
I'm gonna jump in the water.
Yes, it was very disgusting.
Even the
gonna
king's expression seems to indicate that it was disgusting.
The king's like, I can't believe he wanted me to kiss that.
In
We'll,
front of
we'll
my
bring this
wife?
up.
The fuck is wrong with you? Come back to the chateau at 9 later. Be washed.
It was a scientific thing. We had to question it. We had a hypothesis, and we did an experiment.
I don't
don't
think
know.
we had to.
It's not
I don't
science,
think
you didn't
that
write
was-
it down.
I don't
I
think
did.
our hypothesis was good enough that really warranted it, but you volunteered and I wasn't going to step in and stop you.
I imagine Vernon just leaned in trying to kiss him like, for science!
Because that's Vernon's driving force, science.
Yes, Vernon really wants to understand the world he is born into.
It's below me, mostly, I think.
Boy.
So that happened.
Uh-huh.
We'll file that with HR once we get back on the ship. But until then,
Well, the king doesn't work for us.
Well, I mean, it's still sexual harassment, and it did happen on the job.
Yeah,
so.
Vernon, as you walk past LaFanfish, he just flatly states, "You are not my type."
Ooh, neither is truth, big boy. Neither is truth.
I am seeing about that.
Little weakling man. Let's see.
What is your type, LaFanfish? I'm dying to know.
Strong,
Mm-hmm.
elfy,
Mm-hmm.
can lay a table. That is the right term, yes, for a woman who is able to hunt, bring food, keep family sustained, yes.
Close enough.
Big hips. That is all.
That's good.
What more is needed? What about you, pointy head?
I'm gonna leave that one ambiguous.
Oh, come on, do tell. You already had to everybody else say it.
Say what? I didn't ask everyone else.
You asked him.
He
It's only
made an
fair for you to respond.
He made an offhand comment, and I was curious if he would answer, and he did. And I thank you. Yes, I'll
Spoil
keep
sport.
that close to the chest. Thank you.
I have an idea.
Oh boy, that is likely one of the most dangerous things on this island. What is your idea?
Hear me out. The fanfish was talking shit, right? So I'm gonna try to pull truth and say, "Fuck you, the fanfish." Yeah, it's gonna work.
As long as you don't try in a way that would need HR, like what just happened. What,
No,
5
I'm
minutes
just
ago?
gonna prove I'm manlier than the fanfish.
You go ahead and try that.
Okay, I'm gonna go kill the fanfish really quick.
No, nah, no.
I was just kidding. Haha.
Remember, we only kill the ones that aren't useful.
True.
Is she still letting the king just pet her and drool on her?
It looks like she's calmed down completely. She's snoozing.
What is he
Oh, that's
doing?
good.
He's just continuing to stroke for her hair. Burbling a
Still
bit.
is like, yeah.
Occasionally wiping his mouth to get the rest of Vernon off of him.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a long time. There's a lot of
Get-
mud in there.
Off.
Prying off some of the tar that was used to seal one of the boats and just smearing it along his teeth to get the taste out.
Speaking
Pulling
of which,
one of
I'm
his
gonna go
teeth
eat
out,
dinner.
dipping it in the water, giving it a nice rinse, and then jamming it back in his gum.
Ooh, no, gross.
Yeah.
You just see it move a little bit, Azure. It just hangs a little bit loose.
So, in order to quickly change the topic, do we have a plan now? We went and we discovered the thing over there. Is there anything else to find or do?
I mean, we can go the other way.
We could.
There are, both sides have numerous smoke pillars, which are basically your only indicator above the tree line, because it's a fucking jungle out there.
Right.
We might as well go and at least get a vantage point from the other kind of corner of the island, like we did on the other side. That shouldn't be. It should be a shorter trip too, I think.
My only other potential option that I think we should consider is after we've been to that dwarvish ruin, potentially moving towards the mountain and seeing if something isn't there of
Right.
note.
Hmm.
I mean, do we think that's the only one of those ruins on this island? I mean, that's the only one we've seen on the
Well-
coast, and we looked at a fair bit of it.
No,
Well, it's not
there
the
was
only
the
one.
first fucking ruin in this landing area.
Yeah.
But I mean, the one with the cold rune.
Oh, that was the only one with the cold rune, but I imagine there are likely multiple locations such as that one on the island.
Yeah, I mean, So I think we're kind of at the point. Do we want to check more of the beach or check more of the inland? Because we could start with inland now. We're kind of outfitted a little bit.
Inland
Although-
wouldn't be the worst idea.
The temperature
I-
thing, didn't it seem to get hotter further inland?
Yep.
I think so.
So that could be a problem.
Well, yes, but if we're just smart about it, take it a little bit at a time. And don't go too far. Yes, I get it. I made a comment about us being intelligent. However,
Some of us probably are.
so anyway, right, we can attempt to make our way in slowly, do it a little bit of it at a time, potentially find things there, but I mean, we're gonna get the volcano is gonna be too hot for us no matter what. I guarantee once we get to the actual base of that mountain, we're not going any further. But
You think Chewie has seen anything while she's out hunting?
likely, yes, multiple things.
But she's always out hunting, so we never know when to talk to her.
Well, and that's another point, right? Is I did make a comment about potentially going and finding things so that she can take a rest. She
I
can
mean-
feel that at least for a day she can sit down.
What if we
She
set up
might
some
not.
traps or something? We have lots of
Sulzat
cloth
raised
now.
her huge brass-scaled arm.
Mm-hmm.
We can fish.
That would be fantastic. Yes.
We can help with this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we
Is there any
nothing
other
to do.
skill that you guys have that you think might be useful? Actually.
Right now, no. We can sail, we can sew, write penance, yeah, and we can fish.
Oh,
Oh,
both.
two of
that-
those
that-
are probably pretty good.
We can make
They're
rope
both-
as well.
That'd be great. Yeah. Sewing, the rope, and fishing would all be really useful at this point.
Also apprentice at a brothel.
Don't tell that to the other sailors.
It was a joke.
Don't tell that to them anyway.
But she had a completely straight face on both those comments.
Yeah.
Right.
Told you I wouldn't laugh. She just looks to penance.
Well, it was funny in retrospect.
Well, at any rate,
The kobold, however, is having the time of his life as he's just running his hands across all of his stone, on the floor, on the walls. He's trying to stay in the shade as well. There isn't any, really. He just
tell him
ends up
about that
scrabbling
cave?
directly below one of the boat prows.
Do you think Wooperting would take exception to him hanging out in his little cave?
I think Whooperting needs a place where he can be by himself. I think this little guy can find a place on one of these boats that he can feel secure in. Oh, by the way, kind of getting the attention of the two that are there and the kobold. That ship, pointing to the one with all the bugs, avoid it at all costs.
Okay.
Great. If you need anything that will help you to fish or anything like that, ask LaFanfish. He can most likely make it for you.
Because I am useful man who makes things to help everyone else's lives go better. As he gives a side eye to Vernon.
Nah,
Mhm.
pussy.
I provide useful things. Such
Too
as
many
this, as he snaps his fingers, and several gallons of water appear above Vernon and land on him.
Hmm.
Is
But you know you
Vernon
can't
clean?
do?
Hmm?
You know you can't deal with fanfish?
What'd you say?
What?
I just didn't parse what you said.
Oh, you know what you can't do with a fanfish?
I am unable to fly. I do not like cold temperatures that much. I am told not to go to the Dales. I am also not great with bow. Truth is far better with bow. I am alright with spear.
Hmm.
Nah.
I am not good at smithing. I don't like metal. Metal is awkward to use. And I've been told my common not so good. I also do not speak language other than Draconic. There are many things I cannot do.
Yeah. Because I can't do nothing. Ha!
Are you proud of that?
I don't know.
The Virgin Vernon against the Chad Lefanfish. A man who is honest and sincere about everything he does. And then the fucking Mudman. Who ripped off a dude's ear, but only because he failed biting his nose off. This
At least
was
I knew when to
after
quit.
destroying his cranium with an anchor. Because the guy was upset that he was stuck on a desert island.
How the cookie crumbles.
You know, if you want, we could have Vernon go scout off into the jungle, kill him off screen, and then we just bring in someone new.
Possibly.
No. We need to have it happen in a satisfying way. By his
The next
own
war-
by his own actions.
Now
The
the
next
big brain.
warning.
You have to replace the player, not the character. Somebody could make Vernon work.
I still stand by my idea of helping him find a boar.
One day, Vernon walks off into the forest by himself, and for some reason, Wooperting's just really happy that next day. Still slightly angry at the world and stuff, but there's a little bit more of a pep in his step.
Ginny
know,
leads
that's-
Vernon into the woods to find a boar. Ginny returns by himself, panicking as he runs, a boar chasing after him with a ball bag swinging off one of its tusks.
Oh no! Oh! So where the fuck are we gonna go now? Just stay here, I guess.
If campaign, we just live here for the rest of our lives and die.
Yeah, until somebody finds us.
Why don't we continue exploring the island?
Well, so which of the two suggestions that were pitched do you want to go with then?
Or make your own suggestion. You
I
see,
was going to suggest.
there's this wonderful thing about Dungeons & Dragons where you can really do so many things. Not a lot, but many things.
Mhm.
I was
But
going
there are
to
firm
suggest
restrictions on
we
what
go
you can and
check
can't
out
do. Don't even fucking doubt that. But you could do lots of things.
the other smoke pillars and find out what's there. Well, we know what's there, but do they have other people that need rescuing?
There are quite a few sailors still absent.
Exactly. Maybe we can go
Yeah.
rescue some.
They don't
and
even
get
know who
rest
the
of
other
our
sailors
stuff
that they're
back.
missing are.
We're missing the halfling.
You're missing 2 other members of the crew.
One of which is a halfling.
No, on top of a halfling.
So 3 of us have voiced options. Do the other 2 want to pitch in?
I'm fine with checking the smokestacks, trying to see if we
Okay.
can find any more.
Yeah, I say if we go find more people.
All right. Smokestacks it is.
Correction.
Where's the
Yep.
closest one?
If we happen to find more dwarven structures along the way, then we can take a look at that too.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
just good.
I'd forgotten there are actually 5 members of the crew still missing.
Are we counting the captain?
Yep. He's a member of the crew.
Fuck the captain. 4.
Wow.
He has done nothing against you.
Yeah.
He's shady.
So are all of us.
He
Okay.
asked you for permission to stroke you, Ginny.
Okay, that is something he's done against Ginny. I feel like
No.
that's
He asked for consent.
even still, that's weird. I feel like that's no.
Well, it's just he had a cat once and it didn't let him pet it.
I wonder why. That's shady.
Then there's the halfling,
Anyway.
as stated. There is also the elf, who has
Okay,
not
fuck
only
the
a
elf.
name but a title. And you're missing your two other lizard folk, Red and Steve.
Steve.
Right. So, with the consensus basically to go find more of these smokestacks, we should likely. Do we want to wait for Trust to essentially see if we can't get any information that she's learned, or are we just going to set out and go?
Set out and go.
Yeah, we can just go to the nearest smokestack. I mean, we are kind of supposedly on a timer here, I would think. The more people that are coming in, it seems like regularly people are washing up, so we should try to save as many of them as possible.
Yes, it's also important to make sure that we have enough information and we're not just going to run into our own demise.
Done okay so far.
Yes, I'm right. I'm not opposed to going, and I do see the merit in hurrying so that we can save as many people. Just throwing it out there that we seriously do not know what we're running towards, and it would be wise to show some level of caution as well and try to learn more before just setting out.
Well, we could always hold on. We could always the scouting in the trees has served us pretty well so far, I think.
Mm-hmm.
At least we can find the nearest smokestack that way for sure.
Right. Jenny, do you mind?
Once
Yeah,
more
sure.
on the penis, Ginny.
I'll hop on that penis and take a look.
Good. We need a good strong man to climb up on that dick.
Speaking of volunteering at a brothel or whatever the hell they did.
Didn't even
Are we
listen
doing
close
perception?
enough. I don't know, Vernon. If you look at Sulzat, she doesn't seem almighty and powerful, but she'd probably still break you in half.
Yeah.
You would
Most people
be
feel
you
that
would
way
be
about
in
me.
her arms like a Slim Jim. I just like how the last thing he said is "Spit on me, my king." Not Vernon's greatest moment, that one.
I thought somebody would stop me, to be honest.
You thought?
Honestly, at this point,
You
after
did
all
it
the
too
things,
quickly.
It's a recurring theme, really.
Yeah,
Someone
at this
should
point-
just stop him.
Vernon says, I'm going to go do something, and it's kind of a futile attempt, in my opinion, to
Just wanna
prevent you
stop it.
from...
We've learned that he's only gonna learn by doing something and either failing or succeeding at it.
But here's the
Anything
problem,
we say
Pio.
will be met with derision.
The problem,
So you're
Pio,
saying
he
it's
has
like
never
training a
learned.
dog?
He
Yeah,
has
that's the
done.
thing is-
He has succeeded and he has failed. Sometimes both. He has never learned.
Yes.
But there's not much we can do about that at this point. We can't make him smart.
We could just kill him off.
Again, we have the problem where Shelley is not going to do wanton murder.
Well, you could just,
What kind of
spend your
rogue are
helping-
you?
We could just, not stop him from trying something stupid till he kills himself.
I mean, that is technically what we just did and are now being chastised for doing. So,
Do not
But
forget
to be
how.
perfectly
Do not forget, however, Shelley is exempt from this one, but you were recruited as a team.
that doesn't mean
Okay,
it was a wise decision to recruit us.
Then he can heroically sacrifice himself for the team.
I don't think he's
I will
capable
do
of
that
that.
in the stupidest way possible.
He can definitely die for the team. I don't think he can do it heroically.
But in my last redeeming moment.
Oh, I hate that trope. No, not happening. Last minute, the villain throughout the entire series sacrifices himself, so now you can't. You
not a
kinda
villain.
feel bad. No.
Oh, not even that. There's some terrible ones where they just have a complete disassociation of what their character was before in the final scene. They're just a new character, basically, with the same face.
I can
Yeah.
still be stupid and heroic.
Also, Vernon saying that you're not the villain. Hard
Probably the
disagree.
villain.
I mean, I'm
Hard
in
disagree.
He's more of a
in
minion
the
for the
party.
actual villain. Anyway, there are smokestacks around here. Pretty scattered. Looks to be about 6 of them. But they are, like, dotted around, so, there's sort of 2 around here, 2 around here, 1 here, 1 pretty further in.
Well, that's good, actually.
Like, they're all over the place.
Alright,
I
so
mean-
we can make
If there's one further in, we can kind of knock out 2 things at once. Try and see what's further inland and check out a stack, I guess.
Plus, plus once we're a little bit higher in elevation, if we can make it that far, we'll be able to see hopefully more of the island.
Well, Jenny, you've got our bearings. Lead the way.
As he slides off that dick.
Slowly.
Was it a fun ride?
Digging his claws in.
I wrap my legs around it and like rotate around it slowly, like a
Mhm.
a pole.
It's a little bit tricky because it's a fucking mass, so, he's really struggling to keep his heels locked in place, and it's a long slide down. Not to mention all the rope burns.
Glad you have fun.
Ah,
You know what? Not bad.
Well,
I start heading towards the smokestack further inland.
you walk
That
okay?
away. I don't know. Am I walking okay?
There is a big scaled hand that ruffles through the fur of your tail as you walk past.
Oh God.
Sulzat is slightly impressed.
I say it's not for free.
ooh.
Well, what's the price?
Oh god.
More than you can afford, and I just keep walking.
Oh,
Aren't we paying them?
Yeah, that's gonna go well.
Alright. Alright.
Now this is the real comment to HR.
yeah. Well, no, but both of them are perfectly valid, actually.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And Shelly is yet again wondering what she got herself into.
Nothing good.
We're all wondering the same thing, to be fair.
I mean, Ginny's trying to
We
work
don't
out how
know
he can
each
get
other
himself from
that
getting
much
into it.
more.
And so the party set off. Not waiting for truth, but stocking up. There's a few hastily sewn together bags. You're actually able to carry some supplies. Mainly more of a fruit, some dried fish, bits and pieces of animal. It's weird, but they really do all have a smoky aftertaste to them. Not quite barbecue, more like literal smoke. And then the tree line. The heat is palpable. Shelley, this is not your native environment. This is not the cold embrace of the waters.
I don't like this.
Azure,
Everyone does.
it kind of goes against, but also fits your nature. Cats, look at all those scratching posts. There's so much shit to bat around and play with. Vernon, it's gonna be tough to keep your mud dry in here.
I'm gonna become a clay pot.
Oh yeah, I mean, you should be celebrating. It's your first chance to get baked.
Heh.
Oh, jeez.
You break the tree line and head on in. The air is tough to draw in. It is thick, it is heavy, every breath is exacting, exhausting. There's no chance of running right now. There is just no fucking relief whatsoever. You feel yourselves pitching forward. This is a bad idea. It's like you're suffocating in here. It's like the air is being ignited in your lungs before you can breathe it in correctly. Before you can get the benefit of the oxygen. Then your feet hit paved stones. The tree line breaks a tad. And the temperature is dying away.
Duh, those fuckers.
It takes a bit to get yourselves collected again, but you're on a stone road. It's, practically like two people could stand shoulder to shoulder, and that's about it. It's also pretty decrepit looking, but it has many, many standing stones on both sides.
I'll be honest. When we stepped on these things, I thought it was going to burn like hell.
I am glad you were wrong.
That's the thing. Like, it was an immediate transition. You didn't even see them. You were just... The heat haze was too powerful, the foliage was too thick, and then you just break into a clearing and bam. Cool roads.
Are there any buildings in front of us?
It's still like you're in dense foliage right now. The moment, no.
So do we come at this from the side, or is it break off
Yeah,
here, or does it go both ways?
Yeah, you came in from the side.
Okay. So, but we have a good idea of which one leads further inland and which way leads back out, or is it going like a circle?
Yeah, it's very winding. Like, as you look to your left, you can see that it sort of curls back on itself, but it can't go that far back because, you just walk that way. So it must turn again very close. And then the one to your right, it's sort of pacing out like a very lazy S, and then getting lost in the trees again.
Okay. And the standing stones, I assume, do they have runes on them, like the flagstone?
Yeah, they're pretty small, though.
Okay.
Like, the standing stones themselves only come up to about 4 inches.
Ah.
But they're pretty chunky, pretty sturdy. So, back into the trees?
I want to take one of these stones.
You want to try and take one of the stones with you?
What's the worst that could possibly happen?
Good question. I know the answer. Do you? No, you don't. I know.
I'm sure I could guess.
You want to roll your strength? Do you want to try and rip one out?
I'm gonna confer with the party on this one.
But
You
please
shouldn't
don't.
touch it.
I think our last discussion was not stopping you and
I
letting
mean,
you
what
do
if you
stupid.
pry one out and it just works all the time, Vern? It's like a personal air conditioner.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm mostly concerned.
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? That'd be so great.
I'm concerned that whatever he does might kill us.
Okay, everyone back away. I'm going to rage and pull this shit out of the stone. I swear.
Oh God.
Okay, but what if this would be such a good solution? These are small enough we could actually carry these feasibly.
Or he could
If
break
this
the
place
entire
explodes-
system.
Yeah, that too.
Well, what's the chance that nobody on this island has ever tried to pick up one of these before?
He's got a point. Or that
It actually
something
does.
didn't. Yeah, or that something didn't fall and break one. Like, this is a ruin.
Keep in
One
mind,
of
though,
these is
dwarves.
There would
right.
be
but you
those
said
big
that
dicks.
the place was so old it was literally crumbling the last one we were in.
Mm-hmm.
So, does it look the same here?
The road itself is pretty damn crumbly, yeah. There is vegetation
so-
breaking through.
I would be floored if it ruined the entire system. It would not make sense if it ruined the entire system.
I can't have been the strongest person ever to wash up on this island. That would be ridiculous.
Are you familiar with the idea of a circuit?
I'm intimately so, but again, one of these must have broken at some point, so it wouldn't make sense.
Well, remember, everything in that building was broken except the tile of the glyph.
Yeah, so it's very possible I would just fail at even breaking these myself. I mean,
Oh.
are these stones just like in the ground, or are they connected to the road?
Oh, we're definitely in the ground.
What can I? Okay, let me just dig out around one a little bit and see how deep it goes. What I can see underneath.
Yeah.
I'm good at mud.
Mm-hmm. You're good at mud. You're not so good with soil.
Yeah, it's close, similar, related.
Spit on it first. Make it wet.
Okay, yeah. I'll just sneeze a
Give it a
bunch.
slap. There we go. So yeah, you start scraping and digging down, mostly with your bare hands, because the anchor's a little bit awkward. And you keep revealing more and more stone.
Figures. I wonder if these are actually literally connected. If it's one giant stone.
How far do
It
you
wouldn't
keep... Like, how far do you intend to dig?
I mean, is it getting any wider, or is it staying kind of the same
It's
width?
staying as a narrow pole that's about, like 2 hands breadth kind of thing. You need both to get around it. It's a
Right.
square sort of rectangular block. Square
guys
shape
wanna
on
help me
top,
there?
rectangular going down.
Right.
But yeah,
You
as
guys
you
think we
keep
should go
on
further
digging,
with
you
it?
just find more and more of this pillar.
I'm sure we could dig it out eventually, but this is probably pretty easy to install, so I don't know how deep it is. We could just follow the road, or do you guys want to just keep walking?
Or you could rip it out.
I mean,
I don't-
so
Should I try ripping it out?
my thought process at this point, right? I assume with 2 rangers, they'd be able to track themselves back to the penis from here, right?
Very
Yes.
likely.
We could call it
So-
a camp.
Yeah, you could just call it camp. You could call it
I'm
the...
going.
You could
Camp
call it the
penis.
crevasse. You could call it home.
Camp penis.
The place where all our stuff is.
The dick is but one feature of many there. You could also
But
say
it's
that's
the
where your
dick.
continuing bug problem is.
I mean, you
It's-
name things.
It's where you
Based
left
off of
Whooperting, I
its
imagine.
most- I assumed not, because that was the whole
Yeah,
point. Right? Is if we run into
Yeah.
Okay, you didn't
we
say
would've-
if you were taking him with you or not.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was assumed.
the comment was made that if we run into a structure, though.
Yeah.
The king's new kingdom, obviously.
Yes. So at any rate, right?
The
I think it would be
fanfish's
wise-
crib. Go on.
He doesn't seem like the type to say the word crib, but yeah.
He would have told. It's not like he knows many words.
At any rate, I think it would be wise to mark this position, because I imagine that the jungle surrounding this stone pathway is likely going to look incredibly repetitive. So if
Yeah.
at least we have some sort of marker here, it'd be easier to then take it from here and go back. With that, is there anything around that could be constructed or like have some sort of coloration aspect to it in order to like quickly distinguish this area?
I mean, you could always take a chance and mark a tree. Just don't dig too deep.
Notably, if it's one of the plants that's growing out of the ground, I imagine it likely wouldn't be hot, right?
Why would you think that? You've seen some of the trees how they burst into flames when they're punctured.
Right.
Very
I'm
high
talking about-
pressure.
I'm talking about potentially the ones that are like growing through the concrete, because the concrete's cool. If I like grab at one of the leaves of the grass and just touch it, does it feel warm to the touch, or is it?
It feels cold and brittle.
Okay,
So these are pretty effective.
pluck it, pluck that, see if it reacts.
Yeah, it plucks.
All right, so if there's a tree that has grown in the middle of the path, we could potentially mark that a lot safer than the other ones. Alternatively, and look around, are there any vines that are like popping up out of this area?
Not from the road, but just tons of them in the tree lines. The only thing you're seeing on the road itself are like scrubby little bits of leaves and twigs.
So why are we marking this area if we already know where this road is?
we know where the road is, but it's still us walking down the road. I mean, it was an idea. I was just trying to
He can't
lean
even back
into
up his own action.
I'm trying to lean into the fact that we're technically in a place that we've never seen before. This could look incredibly repetitive. I know nothing of the.
Well, there's already this hole that I dug next to the
That's the
thing.
thing. You just had to say that and not back out on it.
We can look at the hole that I dug.
Yeah, you could even scrape some rocks. You could get Vernon to hit one of the pillars really, really, really hard.
I'm still thinking I could try to drag this up. I mean, it's not connected to anything, as far as I can tell.
I mean, it's still going down. Like, you did not find the bottom of it.
In that case, one of these pillars, right, that's like standing up around here, just point to one and ask if whoever has the magic dagger, I do not remember, they'd be willing to carve something in there, a marking of some sort that'd be easily distinguished. That way, when we're walking back, we could just keep checking pillars and seeing till we find one. Because I imagine the magic dagger wouldn't break.
You could also just mark the stones in front of it.
Less risk.
Simpler.
That works too.
Yeah. You do so. Congrats.
So are we going left or right? I think we should go right.
Alright, left it is.
Well, and for once he's actually kind of correct, because left looks like it just goes back to where you came from. But in a longer process.
So used to ignoring what Vernon says.
Yet I have several ideas. Several
You
times a
do
day.
have plenty of ideas.
One or two of them have to be correct.
It is relieving to walk this path. Sure, it's a bit crumbly, there's some small stones that can get caught between the toes and whatnot, but it's room temperature, below that a little. It's soothing. It's a break from the oppressive heat. The only thing it's missing is that it's not dark right now. And hey, it's almost even. Not quite, but almost. It probably was at some point. There's a lot of upturned rocks. There's strange breaks in the pathways. The standing stones, however, completely uniform in their distance and angles. Like, the path itself takes curves, twists, and turns. The standing stones, they are in straight lines between each other. And the road fits between them. So yes, a few more twists and turns, a bit more travel time. A long bit of travel time. A medium piece of travel time. The smokestacks become visible. Two of them. Up close enough. Let's see. Nope. Why is it... Even on a new computer it's doing that. What the fuck?
What?
Where I'm clicking reveal, but it's still drawing it over as shadow.
Oh yeah, no, that happens.
Yeah, it still
on
does it. I thought that was a lag problem with my old computer.
No.
Yep. And you now see quite clearly that one of the smoke pillars is right here nearby. Like, it's another half-day travel.
We can't tell time, but do we feel tired at this point? Like we should rest soon, or
At this point, yeah, it has been
it's
been a pretty busy day of travel, but it's been pleasant travel for a change. Apart from that initial bit in the tree line. The issue is, because you're following the path, it's going all kinds of wiggly directions. There's a few times as well where it feels like it's been splitting off onto possible dead ends, but you've got the two rangers who've been just keeping, their general idea of what direction they want to go in instead of diverging.
In that case, I will suggest that we begin looking for a place that'd be easy to bed up at and we'll take watches, make sure that smokestack doesn't get too close.
Why not just sleep on the path?
Well, yes, on the path, but preferably someplace that's also not like it's got to be big enough and not preferably not like directly
like
in the
a
middle.
bottleneck?
If someone- Do what?
Someone speak.
Completely not in the open.
Yeah.
Right.
We're looking for a happy medium here.
I feel like talking to the dead would make you sad.
I'm just. Oh my fuck.
Is that you reacting to?
Yes.
Well, in this case, I'll have you guys roll stealth as the rangers try to find a nice, simple little spot that's not looking like it's in an immediate pathways. Seems safe enough.
All of us are just the Rangers.
It's up to you guys.
I will trust the Rangers entirely.
I'm just reminding you that
Nick,
these two, when it
you
comes
know
to
what?
dice, are pretty cursed.
Yeah, we are pretty cursed. Pretty cursed.
Hey.
Still pretty
fine.
cursed, though. Look at the... Because it's a +7 on both of them.
Yeah, but above 10s both.
Yeah,
I mean,
above
a
10's is good.
14 and a 16 are good.
Meanwhile, Shelley, not so good.
Yeah. And I also have the +7, so I'm just stealing y'all's luck.
But yeah, you bivouac down, you manage to find a nice little... It's a strange little spot because it's a semicircle that breaks off from the road and then connects to it about 6 or 7 paces away. It's just some strange little nook, and there is just a dense tree dripping in vines separating the two of them. And you're even able to put like an arm through to both sides, so you're able to go from cold to hot to cold and feel all free on your on your arm.
That's weird.
I don't know why I would want to do that anymore.
But you still do it.
Yeah.
And you do it again.
Yeah.
Con save.
Damn.
You go into thermal shock. It's fatal. Make a new character.
Shit. Actually, it's bad.
Yeah, no actual repercussions.
I had a +6 and I got an 8.
Yeah.
Shall I say the quote?
Go ahead.
Constitution saves, I'm good at those.
Yeah. The same thing happened with Maliko and the Price of Knowledge. I failed pretty much every con save that was required, except one that was very important when a couple of Banshees she yelled at us.
Oh,
Wait.
yeah.
Yeah, which left just me and Snook alive in the party.
Yeah, Gunther was kind of wimpy.
Everyone else was a 0. Well, it wasn't even wimpy, it was the fact you had to do 2 saves in a row. That's just dickish. Because that was the campaign. I don't even know why the fucking Banshees were there. Then again, neither did he. He just rolled on a table and went to Cobalt Fight Club.
More enemies.
Watches?
I will go.
Okay, Vernon's doing all 4. Gotcha.
No, I'll do the last 2.
I can take the second watch then.
Ginny?
I did one last time.
So 2 of you
I
are just
do
okay.
2 every time.
And Azur gets
So-
away again.
No, both of y'all get to pick one. Come on. Shelly ain't doing it on her own.
I'll do the last
I
one.
don't know, might be more satisfying that way.
Oh god. That took me too long.
Well, Vern, you're definitely doing it alone.
Yeah, no, that was definitely the plan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep an eye on fucking Wooperting though.
Overton keeps an eye on you. He does the same shift. So while you're looking around, he's just staring at you. He contributes nothing to the security of a watch.
That's fine. He's awake if something happens. Or is he even awake? I'm not actually sure at this point.
He's awake if you do anything, motherfucker. So, perception. You do hear something. You don't see anything. But now that there is an actual paved road, stone reacts well. It causes good sound reverberations. There are impacts. It's hard to tell. A lot of them are just sort of like distant slaps, which probably bare feet. But then there's also sometimes the proper dull clatter of, you'd guess, wood against stone, maybe some metal. Sounds like stuff hitting against it.
I feel like it's the king dragging them all.
How intelligent
just,
is
like,
Vernon?
I'm gonna hold up my hand and Wooperting and just like, you know.
Does he have
silence
survival
first.
tagged?
Me?
Yeah.
Nope.
So yeah, you hear that.
Okay. I'm just gonna be super quiet.
And what were you reaching at the Whipperting?
No, I'm just gonna holding up a hand and like, you know, just like don't move.
He hasn't.
I figured it was just, you know, for
He's just been fucking staring at you this whole time. It's weird because you imagine like all the path is winding and weird like this here, so the sounds are distant, then a little bit closer, then more distant, then they start to get closer again, then a bit more closer. Like they could be just behind another copse of trees. It's hard to tell. And you'd think there's definitely more than two.
Okay.
But it all seems to be one sort of unit.
I'm gonna really hope Wooperting is willing to. I'm gonna look back and I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna like gesture at the party and then like point, you know, do like wakey wakey, like gesture. I don't know how you gesture wakey wakey, but that's the gesture I'm using.
Well, it's easy. You just sort of, you know. There you go, done.
Like,
No, I've shown you how to do it. Now you do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just.
Okay, left. You need to engage the left arm a bit more, but you've got the gist of it. Okay.
You're actually right. I was not using my left arm barely at all. You know what?
Well, I figured your right was a lot stronger, yeah.
You'd be wrong.
Well, because he's right-handed.
You know.
Yeah. Simple. Not many people are sinister like me.
I mean, I don't know.
We're ambidextrous.
I drive with my left hand, you know. One hand on the wheel, you know, like a cool guy. I'm like, yeah, lean back with one hand on the wheel. That's how I drive.
I can promise you that that doesn't matter.
Nobody thinks I look cool?
No. No.
No, you know what looks cool? 10 and 2, because then you're a responsible driver, and there's nothing cooler than that.
Exactly. And you
Responsibility
better
got me
be
nowhere.
using push-pull.
Even though 10 and 2 is horribly restrictive whenever you have to change gears.
Well, not to mention, actually, we don't do 10 and 2 anymore. It's more like towards the middle of the steering wheel on either side.
Because 10 and 2 is kind of exhausting on the arms, because you're holding them in an unnatural posture.
Yeah.
And also, if you get into an accident, and it jerks the wheels, it's actually going to be more likely that you jerk the steering wheel. If it's in the center, the steering wheel can stay put.
So you hear that? You're doing a driving position that's a bit jerky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, who do you wake up? Is just Wubberting told to just wake up anyone?
More, just like, not
Just
like,
wake up
you know,
everyone?
whatever. Just whoever's closest, or maybe whoever doesn't have a watch actually would be best. But I can't. That's hard to express. That's hard to express.
I think I voluntold everybody into the watch.
He wakes up Rainy.
What?
He's got the finger against the lips and all. Then he points.
What?
He points to Vernon, flips him off, and then points at him again.
Even when shit's going down.
I look to Vernon.
And I put a hand in my ear, like, listen.
Yep, perception. You can also hear it. There is a group. Maybe 4, maybe 5. Could be 3. It's kind of hard to tell with the distance and all of it. Sounds like feet. Sounds like... You assume weapons, considering how dangerous this place has been. Long feet, from the length of the slaps. Pretty quick pace. But they also seem to be going, like, unevenly parallel with you guys. Like, they're not coming towards you, but they seem to be going closer and further away along the line in front of you. She just perks her head up with half the fur flattened on one side. One ear folded in on itself, looking a bit weird.
I will go and rouse the rest of the party. And whisper that things are moving. And to be ready, just in case.
You wait. Weapons drawn.
Cast a mage armor on myself.
Spells ready. The sound seems to double back on itself. It splits for a moment. One of the patters going the opposite way now. 2 of them slowed down. Then the 2 start to move quickly to rejoin the one that went double back. They grow more distant. And they're basically beyond hearing after a little while.
We can't see them, right? The trees are too dense.
Yeah, you don't see anything. Like, there's basically trees all around you bearing down, covering most of the sky, but also just, there's layers upon layers in front of you. These roads are like just little veins in this jungle. But yeah, eventually you all keep very keenly tuned, ready to strike. It seems like they went back where they came from. And they never got right up close. They were always pretty far away. But now they're out of hearing range.
Huh. It was weird when they
Do
split
we
off.
get the sense that they were trying to scope us out, or they were just kind of doing their own thing?
It seemed way too distant for that, like they wouldn't have been able to get any eyes on you.
Okay.
You also did not notice a smoke pillar moving around at that point. There is still one in the distance, but pretty far away.
And I know sleep.
And then the realization, Vernon actually didn't fuck off on watch. He did what had to be done. Correctly at that.
You know, he needs a reward. Another watch.
I was thinking another dishonor point.
So that's your watch over.
Woo!
So, Snook, you can show up in the second, third, or fourth.
Watch?
Yep.
Oh no, if that's not assigned, I'm sleeping right through.
Is he sleeping right through, Shelley?
No.
Second watch,
Which
Rainy?
one?
It goes pretty
Which
well.
one was I voluntold then?
Yeah, she's volunteering you and Ginny, because you both tried to be lazy.
What? I was answering a door because I had a knock on my door for some reason.
Well, I'm assuming in character, Azure would just be like, this is not my problem. This is for
Would
other
you
people.
volunteer for a watch?
No.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I would probably find out which watch would be most annoying and give you that one.
Obviously the third. Because
And
you've
the
just
other.
had enough sleep, but then you're woken up and then you've got to go back to sleep again for the last bit.
Yeah, I think that's what I would get Azure for, yeah.
Yeah. You can't tell me the third wouldn't be the worst, because the second watch, you've only slept for a bit. That's basically a nap, then you're woken up, and then you get a longer sleep afterwards.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. The third watch, you have gotten a decent bit of snooze, and you're interrupted, and then you've got a nap for the last bit. That's not
Yeah.
Hard to
satisfying.
get back to that nap. Yeah.
That's not
Both
satisfying.
of them are bad. It really depends on, I would imagine, your sleep cycle at the point where you're woken up. I don't
Yeah.
think
I'm
it
going
really.
to point out the third is worse because I remember when we worked morning shift and we had to do that for Saturday D&D.
You chose to do that for
They did.
Saturday, didn't you?
Oh no, you have no idea. Corvus made us. There was bombs involved and it was bad.
I was
There we
ready to
go.
just write their characters off. I could have gotten replacements. Any conversations on the watches?
Is there anyone awake during the second watch besides me?
You've got Scuttles. Truth is also there.
Hmm.
You didn't even hear her show up.
Likely just a wave then.
She waves too as she just sets down more dried fish, various fruits and all into the larder of the group.
Thank you.
Welcome. She tilts
Wonderful.
her head to look and just make sure she got it right.
I nod, approving.
She nods again and then back into the jungle. Among the supplies she dropped were also a couple of little berries.
Yay.
Fruit?
Hmm?
Berries, they're fruit.
Yeah.
It's not like we get a lot of those.
Well, yeah, it is. You've been eating a lot of the really hot, explosive fruit.
Oh, I thought that we were mostly getting like the fish and stuff.
Yeah. Like it's the only juicy thing on the island. But these are just neat little berries. Then the watch is over. Leaving the third watch, the most horrible watch, it's been decided. Shelly and Azure.
Well, I mean,
Hold
for
on,
me,
my cat might
it's
be
a
throwing up.
perfectly
I'll be right
fine
back.
watch to me.
Yeah, it's fine for you. You've slept your entire night's worth.
Yep. Yep. I also help wake up Azure. Up and at 'em. Time to smell the daisies.
They smell like fire and sulfur.
Don't forget the brimstone bit.
Well, that would be more comforting, so I'm not including that. This devil blood would enjoy that. After all, he is a Satan. Any
wander
conversation
back
between
off?
Shelley and Azor or Shelley and Ginny?
No, I'm here.
I thought I'm on the fourth watch.
You are, that's why I'm listing them separate. Because Shelley's awake for both. Elves only need 4 hours.
Well, I'm waiting for this watch to be over, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. You don't hear any...
Azur's like half asleep during his watch.
Oh no, she won't allow him to be half asleep.
There is the scuffling of animals. You do see a pretty shockingly red bird. Like, it's not just red, it is glowing red. It is casting light.
That's not good.
Is that bird on fire? Why am I asking that question? That's a really fucking dumb question.
It's a really dumb question on the island of fire, yes.
Yeah.
Like, all the Kuatoa you fought have already been carbonized.
She would say that out loud, by the way.
It's your time to leap, Azur. She's admitted she's dumb.
Looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, but we all know looks can be deceiving. I mean, look at you.
And what, pray tell, is that to mean?
You look semi-competent.
Ouch.
Ginny wakes up, goes, sick burn, and goes back to sleep.
At least I look incompetent.
Yeah, no one looks at Vernon and thinks he can do the job.
Yeah.
She's just gonna shift uncomfortably and ignore it.
She is grinning and looking very amused.
Alright, you've stirred some shit. Watch is over. Your next person to attack and his self-worth is Ginny.
See, I've just been trying to be friends with Azure this whole time, and he just keeps on rebuffing me like I'm some sort of weird mudman or something.
Gee, I wonder why.
She's not gonna be an ass to Ginny because she has no reason to be. Ginny hasn't done anything to piss her off.
Or has
think
he?
of a time where... I can't really think of anything. And he sure as shit didn't start things like with Wolperting.
No, it was just him holding the item that has free healing and just thinking, I don't want to waste a spell on him. I don't want to use a single cure wounds to help this man. You are just easily distracted tonight, Ginny. You can't really focus.
I did the best job.
Hmm? Yeah. You actually did.
I'll just ask Shelley, anything happened so far besides Vernon's thing?
Did I even get waken up for Vernon's thing?
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
There was a moment when
Wolperting
the whole
woke us
group
all
was
up,
ready
right?
to go.
As far as I know, no, that was about it. I mean, I saw a firebird, but I mean, that's bog standard at this point.
I take a look at the sky.
Thinking about the moon.
What?
Wait, what?
It's just the way he said, looking at the sky. Ginny, thinking about the moon, contemplating it like cats do.
Wishing it was fucking dark.
Thinking, how will we get that ball? It will be ours.
I'm gonna get you, ball. So that chick, well, that lady's weird, and I don't know what to do about it.
The one with the...
It's always awkward when they ask for dating advice.
Something is going on there. And my main problem is I don't know if the king is keeping her crazy down or if the king is making the crazy.
That's the same thing I have been thinking.
Wow, also, Rena's mic has gotten really quiet.
Oh, hold on. It was on my shoulder, that's why.
There we go, it's better.
I don't know if having the king around is a good thing or not, but I just know there's something weird going on.
There's a lot. Like, what was the bit about the dark? Was it the dark moon?
The black moon
There
rises.
we go. Yeah, Black Moon Rises. That's I don't know. A lot of that sounds like prophecy stuff, and it could either be the king because he's convinced that she's a prophet and is then making her one,
And
or
where are these voices coming from?
exactly. Like if he thinks that she's a prophet and she's hearing things, it'd be indirectly coming from him. But if she was hearing this beforehand, I don't know.
She mentioned light, right, Corvus?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's it's safe to assume it's the same kind of light that we saw before we arrived on the island too.
I mean, you can make that assumption yourself. I can neither
I
confirm nor deny this.
I really want to know where these voices are coming from before we decide what to do with her.
Before we snap her neck, where does this voice coming from?
Because this is one of those things where I don't know. I would much rather we help her.
Before we just have her look off into the distance and ask her about the rabbits.
She could be the way off this island for us, which is why I want to keep her alive.
Well, I just want to keep her alive because she's a person. But I also agree on that point. Yes, she very well could be our key off, but she doesn't know it. We don't know it, and I'm worried somebody's gonna do something stupid to her because she's creepy.
I'm willing to protect her until we know we shouldn't be.
Yes, agreed. I'm also slightly concerned that she seems to be getting worse.
Yeah.
When we first met her, she was at least able to have a conversation 9 times out of 10.
I don't think she was.
Yeah, she had plenty of
She had
conversations.
some coherency in her words.
Yeah, like she explained how that she married the king and all that stuff. And right now it's her ability to talk in full sentences has dropped.
I wonder if it's because we took her away from that spot.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. It could also be that maybe with whatever the king's feeding her, it's helping make her slightly more loony bird.
Well, if the trend continues, she's probably gonna pop up with him behind us in the next day or two anyway, so
Yeah. I'm wondering how did they figure out where we were and then still beat us back?
yeah, just something's not right and it weirds me out.
Well, I mean, this whole island weirds me out, but that's got an extra level of problem.
Maybe if they pop up with us again and nothing is of immediate concern and somehow I don't know, if they say they're leaving, maybe we can try and follow them.
Well, the problem is last time they just poofed. We didn't even get a chance to follow them. They just left. And there weren't even tracks. So,
Next time we're back at camp, maybe we should actually check if they're leaving tracks when they're walking around camp, because I don't think any of us even cared to look.
oh no, they left tracks when they came in to the when we were at the ruins. There were tracks coming in, but there were no tracks of them leaving.
Ginny's gonna just lay down looking at the sky. I don't like it. I wish I knew.
I don't like any of this either. But then again, I mean, is that really the weirdest thing we've had to deal with this entire time?
For Shelley, probably.
Well, I don't know. Shelley kind of views the whole, getting suddenly teleported to this island thing, considering everybody is from different areas.
That rest we had at the ruins, Corvus, was I the only one that saw the dark?
Yep.
Mm.
It was gone by the time you woke people up.
Remind me again, what did I see? It was darkness and just her and
Yeah.
the king?
Just her.
The king wasn't there.
King
when
was
I
not
saw-
there. You just
Okay.
saw her standing in the hallway, and it was pitch dark for the first time.
Back at those ruins when she appeared. I saw her and it was dark.
And she was humming. Nice little tune.
That tune wasn't familiar or anything, was it?
No, it just kept going in random directions the whole time. There was
Oh, I
nothing.
remember
There's
she
nothing
was-
about it that flowed. It just kept going.
I remember hearing her hum.
Yeah, she was still doing it at a different point.
Yeah. I don't know. Something. I'm wondering also how much of this the king is involved with, because he could accidentally do a lot of this. There are a lot of Kuatoa on the island, and if you get enough Kuatoa thinking that something is real,
At this point, Jenny,
Yeah.
you take a puff on your fairy pipe and just think, what if I'm only real because a Kuatoa believes in me?
What the?
Yeah, that is a valid question to ask yourself.
Existential crisis on an island.
What if we're all
Are
just the
we-
dreams of a Kuatoa, man?
Exactly.
And then one day I kill him, and all existence ends.
Do
Well, no
fishmen
one will know
dream
I
of
did it.
electric sheep?
Well, for actually having a discussion about something important of a plot, potentially, you both get an inspiration.
woohoo!
Because you role-played.
I already had one.
Okay. It looks like you should be using them more often.
Yeah, I should.
Yep.
But then again, when's the last time she's epically failed something?
I think the times you've used it and you've still failed.
Yeah, most of the time I use my inspiration, I still fall flat on my face. So I mean,
Yep, especially as Rain.
Matt
Yes,
gave me
yes.
DM inspiration on his campaign towards the end, and I just stopped caring.
That was like one of the 4 he gave out, I think.
Probably.
But
I don't remember what it was for.
with morning, you assume happening. Maybe. You all awaken, refreshed, ready to go, knowing that there is danger up ahead, and possibly danger behind you, back home, at the penis. But we are at 3 hours now, so we're going to end the session. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time, I think.
Yeah, 2 weeks because I'm getting COVID shot number 2.
And hopefully your potential return to work will not interfere either.
See, that's. Are you still streaming?
Yeah, let me cancel that. Let me turn off the stream so you don't have to air your personal details.